For Panthers Fans Only is a sports podcast intended for mature audiences and contains profanity as well as extremely spirited conversation. What you see and hear are the sole opinions and depictions of each individual, not at all inclusive of the entire cast or any guests associated with our show. Thanks for tuning in, and always remember to stand on business.
We done serve till I die. Okay.
Nalo boy!
As a matter of fact, it's
Were you hating that I got my jersey and put Nalo behind it? Put Nalo on the back? Or it's kind of like, it's kind of like a little homosexual?
Yes.
Nalo boy, what up?
Tell them Weezy. I get low.
Yeah.
If I don't do nothing, I'm about. I'm counting all day like the clock on the wall. Now go and get your money, little duffel bag boy. Say go and get your money, little duffel bag boy. Get money. I ain't never ran from a nigga, and I damn sure ain't about to pick the day to start running.
Welcome to FPFO.
I ain't never ran from a nigga, and I damn sure ain't about to pick the day to start running. Get money.
The beat's so hot, the flow is
So ice cold.
walking to the Gucci
Welcome,
store.
welcome, welcome, welcome.
I am on my
Shout out to everybody that
toilet
found us this weekend.
example, homie. I
Shout out What's Up, Doug.
money
Shout out Shamik. Shout out Shamik.
heard no shit like this. And why you wishing on that falling star? I'm in a foreign car, smoking
Really shout out to the whole team.
suede sunroof.
Went crazy day one. Shout out Dylan for joining the stream on day 3. Went for about 2.5 hours. Shout out Dunk and Low. This is very, very special weekend, man.
I get so much money, it's my ID, don't try me. And if I don't do nothing, I'm a fucking ball. And I ain't about to start running now, nigga,
If
now.
I don't do nothing, I'm a ball.
Yeah, I about went through the wall.
It's
a lot, boy. Cam Jackson.
Oh,
that's too much.
Way too much. I ain't never ran from a nigga, and I damn sure ain't about to pick the day to start running. Look her
Weezy,
now,
what
I
up?
say, I ain't never ran from a nigga, and I damn sure ain't about to pick the day to start running. Get money.
Ain't nothing to a boss, we ballin' when you see us, we hit them heads.
All I'm going to say is, I'm going to say this, and obviously we have a great show in line for you guys today. But just my opening initial statement. The only thing I'm going to say is Dan Morgan and Co. did a phenomenal job. Trevor Etienne at 114 is still fucking my brain. But we're going to talk about it. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay. Maybe. We got one host that's hungover, or our producer is hungover. We have co-host in pain.
I'm great.
And allegedly another, the host that's, I mean, he's looking at me a certain way because I put Nalo on the back of the blue hole. I just don't get it. But you know, whatever. I digress. Welcome to For Panthers Fans Only, man. I appreciate everybody for being here. We appreciate all of you guys for being here. Like I said, shout out to y'all if you guys just discovered the page from the work that we did this weekend with Dunk and Low. Shout out to them. Shout out to Unnecessary Bluntness. If you're not familiar with the channel, go over there right now. Like, comment, subscribe on all of the lives and everything that he's done up to this point. Even the pre-draft stuff. He has a lot of film breakdowns on some of the guys that we drafted this past weekend. So, yeah, if you haven't done that already, go make sure to go over to Unnecessary Bluntness right now. Go check that out. Him and Lo Dunk and Lo did a phenomenal job just all throughout the weekend. I mean, listen, we put together our production for, like, day one, and I just know that we wouldn't have been able to do the whole weekend, unfortunately. So, shout out to them. Shout out to them. Actually, maybe that might be a
I was
lot.
about to say, with the setup that we had, I think we damn sure would have been able to kill it for the weekend.
Yeah, you may be right. Actually, you definitely right. We would have been straight.
It would have just been a lot.
Yeah, it would have been a very long time in front of the cameras.
Yes.
We would have been rolling. We probably would have had something for next year to think about. We'll probably bring in, like, guests coming in every day.
Yes, yes.
Come through, chat. That way, a situation like with Yak don't happen again. He can be there the next day instead.
Right. 1,000%. 1,000%. But, like I said, welcome to For Panthers Fans Only. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure to tap in with us on social media. At For Panthers Fans Only on Instagram, TikTok, DSPs. Look us up on Google. That's where you can find us, For Panthers Fans Only. Only exception is on X at FPFO_podcast if you want to connect with us there. If you're interested in purchasing a Carolina Reaper t-shirt, one like similar, actually identical to the one that I have on my body right now, you can go directly to forpanthersfansonly.com and purchase those right now. We actually just wrapped up a 20% off sale for draft weekend for our Carolina Reaper tees. So if you are new and you're just now finding out about us, I apologize. I'm sorry. You missed the sale. And we also gave like 3 or 4 of them away throughout the weekend. So sorry, but it's back to regular price. But I think it's definitely worth the money and definitely worth, you know, what we're requesting for it. So would highly encourage you to do that while supplies still last. Other than that, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for being here. Like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell notification on. All of that good shit. If you haven't entered our giveaways, there is 1 week remaining on our rookie jersey giveaway. Whatever rookie you would like, you will have the opportunity to win it for free. All you have to do is follow the instructions, click the link down below in the description, and it'll take you directly to the giveaways, how to enter, connect with us on social media. You're able to get up to 4 or 5 entries on each one of those giveaways. The other one being the FPFO Road Game Experience, where we fly one of our supporters as well as a person of their choosing out to Glendale, Arizona for the game against the Cardinals this year. Flight, hotel, game tickets, all covered by For Panthers Fans Only. And yeah, that's all I have. I wanted to get through as soon as possible, as quick as possible, because we have a lot to go through. What you got?
Somebody asked me a question. That's not a Panthers fan.
Okay.
If they won the rookie jersey giveaway, do they get a rookie jersey from their team?
No.
That's what I told them.
Yeah, good job. Good job. Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I
Smooth.
yeah, no.
I
no.
shouldn't be surprised at all.
No, like, could I get my Bears jersey?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God. And that's a
Luther Burden.
fuck no. That's a fuck
He
no.
asked for a Luther.
He didn't say specifically, but I mean, he
That's what
said
it would be.
he said Colston Loveland number is trash, so he don't want his.
Yeah, no. I honestly probably no, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. It would have been a no for any other team in the NFL, and because he's a Bears fan, and you know how I feel about Bears fans, it's a fuck no for him. With all due respect, nothing personal to Smooth. Shout out Smooth, but yeah, no, it's not happening. It's not happening. Absolutely not. What you got? You seem like you got something on your mind.
So I can't ask for a Siobhan.
No,
Siobhan
you
Reveal.
can't win. You can't win. Unfortunately.
Okay.
So, how is everybody doing on the chat? I'm not gonna lie. If y'all can tell, my energy is through the roof. My energy is through the roof. I
so.
almost. Actually, let me not say that. I was just gonna say that I almost, once I seen the class on paper, I had a hard time controlling my emotions. Let's just say that. That's too much.
Yeah,
that's too much, bro.
Way too much.
Okay,
Yes.
my apologies.
However, that's how I was feeling too. Y'all saw the video I sent in the group chat.
But at least we're honest. How you feeling, buddy? I know. Are you good? Do we need a break? Are you straight?
Nah, I'm straight.
No, I'm being dead serious. I'm not being funny.
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, I feel all right. I feel all right. I went to the doctor Friday. I told y'all I've been dealing with some back issues. So apparently I pinched my sciatic nerve. So that's why like the left side of my body's been fucked up. So got some medicine. That
How
shit.
the fuck do they even test for that? Like, how did they determine you pinched the nerve?
That's a great question.
It's so crazy when she was doing. You know how you go to the doctor and they take the thing and hit your knee, bro. She was doing that to this part of my leg. No fucking reflexes. No reflexes. Yeah, she was like, "Yeah, you're nervous. It's fucked off, basically."
Did they tell you how like that could potentially happen? Or
she was just saying
that can't be from high school football. I mean, it could obviously, but like 10 years later, that shit.
Yeah, she didn't say like how exactly it could happen, but she was like, being that you were dealing with a lower back and going to physical therapy, like overcompensation on just that part, like just fucked up your nerve, basically.
Like, this all probably started with that chiropractor.
Yeah, he probably honestly fucked me off, but I don't know for sure. But yeah,
no, we're gonna figure out for sure because that could be a lawsuit. and so I don't know if you want to say his name on camera, but we might got something for him. Don't worry, we'll do some research.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know for sure if that's what happened, but
Hey, a new studio coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
that would be crazy.
What's an additional 30 or 40,000?
And he's in North Hills too, so you know.
Oh, so yeah, so one patient. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they've been giving me medicine and shit, or they prescribed me some medicine, and that's why I wasn't on the live streams, honestly, because the first shit with Dunk and them, like I didn't even see us pick Prince because I was knocked out, and I ended up waking back up. I was like, oh shit. Same thing with the third day. I was asleep throughout that whole entire shit, just because as soon as I take the medicine, I'll be gone. So, but other than that, I'm feeling good. I thoroughly enjoyed our draft watch party. I enjoyed Dunks. Obviously, I didn't get to see y'all's on the third day, but
No worries.
I'm assuming y'all did phenomenal. But yeah, it's been a fun weekend.
For sure. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. I went a little too hard this weekend, as I tend to do when I start partying. But what's new, you know? I only know one way to go. ECU trained me well. What can I say?
Yes. Shout out to the best party school in America.
Absolutely. I was so excited to drink on Saturday. I was shaking.
That sounds kind of very similar to addiction, buddy. Very fiend out like, but continue.
No, I'm just playing around. Alcohol
now
abuse
he's
is
playing.
alcohol abuse is very serious.
so now the nigga playing. All right. Okay. Because he sounded
very
dead ass
serious.
serious when he said that. But okay. Continue.
COE.
Touche.
No, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching the first round of the draft with the live setup that we had going. I loved interacting with the live chat. I think that was like really special moment for us. First time we've done anything like that, so that was pretty dope. And then Saturday they had a beer festival downtown Raleigh. That's where I was. They're having a good time. Still trying to recover a little bit from that, but it was a blast, man. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Good news. And of course, you guys can defer and not decide to answer this question. I think a lot of our viewers would like to know how the championship game went Wednesday. You guys care to expound at all, or?
Yeah, we got clipped.
Okay.
I mean, we didn't lose. Well, we lost by 2.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, half of the team decided either to not show up or be late on the
Championship
game. The championship game, and it was a couple bad mistakes that kind of cost us that game. But I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we gave it our all. We tried.
Well, and that wasn't good enough, unfortunately.
It just wasn't good enough. And sometimes that's just the way it goes, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's unfortunate.
But they shouldn't have moved us up in the fucking league either, because we started off playing like the level was rec level, but they were like, we were beating teams by too much. So they moved us up to semi-competitive for the fucking playoffs, and then
We still made it to the chip, so.
Yeah, but they got off on y'all.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that would have had me
Because
hot. Like, how you gonna keep me in one league the whole time and then move? Like, no,
Yeah.
we're not doing that. Absolutely not.
I know one person that was in the rec league that won the championship. He was on our team or on my team probably a couple seasons ago, not very good. And he was just like, yeah, our team, we were losing all season, and then we just got hot at the right time. I was like, no, y'all are fucking ass.
Out.
Yeah. And so
that
really pissed me off when I heard that, but,
Yeah.
Shout out Tri Sports.
Yeah, it didn't really help that half the team was missing. I honestly think if we had our full team, we probably would have clipped them. So that was just unfortunate timing.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, without further ado, you guys know why we're here. I will say, just to open, I think that I mean, in a lot, if you guys watch the streams or whatever the case may be, this episode I'm designed it to hear Tavian and Terrence's opinion for the overwhelming majority, just because I feel like I've been talking for like nonstop for the last 96 hours, literally. But just to open this up, I think that the first thing I'll say is Dan Morgan, the front office, Dave Canales, everybody that was involved with the prospect aspect of what we had going on, everybody that was involved in the draft process, round of applause to you guys. I think that the cohesion was very, very apparent. We talked about this last year, and I think because Scott Fitterer scouts were still in place, and there was still like just kind of the stench of the previous regime a little bit on the organization still. It was it was hard to see it through the actions. Like, they were saying that, we're all on the same page. We all want the same thing. The talk about cohesion was there. However, the actions didn't necessarily align with what we were seeing and some of the decisions that were being made last season, last offseason, last draft season. This season, it seemed like, and I mentioned this on Dunk Stream on day 3. This season, it seemed like Dan Morgan, finally had the ability to play the game with his own hand. Every other time, it seems like he was playing the game with a hand that he wasn't dealt, or last season in particular, every other time. Last season in particular, he was playing the game with a hand that wasn't his. It wasn't his. It just simply wasn't, right? Because some of the moves that were made, like I said, the scouts from Scott Fitterer were still a part of the organization at that time. Then they let him go, so everything is on a year delay. It wasn't Dan Morgan. This season, it felt very Dan Morgan and Dave Canales-esque. It did, and I'm very, very excited. I'm very, very happy with how the draft class turned out. I mentioned the Trevor Etienne pick, but even that we'll dive a little bit into it and share our opinions a little bit deeper in that regard. But to go Nalo round 1 and then to double dip on day 2 at edge, which is something that I had been calling for damn near the whole time. Like, if you were going Tetaroa, it was a guarantee that you had to go edge, in my opinion. And it didn't have to necessarily be the second and the third, but I knew that you had to leave with 2 edges. So there were different mocks that I personally did where, cool, you go get Princely in the second or the third or whatever the case may be, and then you circle back and get a guy like Jack Sawyer, whatever the case may be. I just knew a double dip had to occur. And just seeing it play out the way it did on day 2, absolutely phenomenal job. What else? Just some of the moves that were made. We didn't really lose a significant amount of picks. I think we may have lost 1 pick, which was a 7th round pick throughout the whole draft. Even that in itself, with the way we were able to maneuver throughout the board, like, it was just. I mean, I can't speak higher or any higher of the organization right now and of the job that Dan Morgan and his team did than I am currently, because I just absolutely loved it. I loved it. I love the class, and I think they're going to be special. I really do. I feel a lot better about this class than I did about last year's class. And there were still some guys that I was excited about. But this year, it just feels completely different. And based on what I've been seeing on Panthers Twitter, and I know that my view maybe a little jaded, but I would say about 75 to 80% of the people that I've been seeing on Panthers Twitter, and I feel the same way, are saying that this is one of the best drafts, if not the best draft that we've had in at least 8 or 9 years, since 2017. And I think we got Curtis Samuel, Taylor Moton, and I can't remember who the other person, McCaffrey. I think we got all three of those guys in the same draft, if I'm not mistaken. So up to this point, there hasn't been a draft better than that one. To be quite frank with you, I believe that what the front office just displayed, this group has the ability and the potential to be one of the best that we've ever seen in Panthers history. No cap. So that's how I'll intro it. I don't know if you guys want to intro and give you your opinion on kind of an overview, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper. But I'm extremely excited as a Carolina Panthers fan today.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, too.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I definitely enjoyed it. It seems like this draft, the front office moved with a bit of urgency to, have this team performing well within the next year or so. And like I said on the stream, or before the stream, I wasn't prepared to take Jalen Walker. That's his name, right? Yeah. Jalen Walker.
And fuck him. Fuck him. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Right? My bad.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared to take Jalen Walker at pick number 8. And so I always wanted Tet. I was a Tet guy. So very happy that we made that move. Now, I will say, going off of that, because I was expecting us to trade back too. But I guess when he fell into our laps, and they said that that's been our guy for a while now. So it seems like they were just blowing smoke to the media, just trying to get everybody to, kind of get back. I was a little hesitant to see what we were going to do with the rest of the picks we had. But like you said, I think the front office made a great move, double dipping that edge. And I wasn't too, when we drafted Nick Sorten, whatever his name. Yeah. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I'll be honest. I was a little taken aback, but just by seeing, the grades at the end of that and seeing that, out of the top edge rushers, we got 2 of them, him and Princely. So I think that there's a lot of potential there. I think that's something that, the front office did really well in evaluating those guys. But, yeah, like you said, I feel a lot better about this draft than I did last year. And because, last year was one of those drafts, I just feel like the Jonathan Brooks pick fucked everything up. Kind of like what you did when we were on that live stream when you took Tej Johnson. And I was just like, oh, my God.
The second time around.
Yeah,
The first one we put out was actually phenomenal, and I would love to go back and see how many hits we had. Because I think we had at least 1.
Yeah, but
that y'all had 5.
I mean, yeah, true. I did leave that up like we went crazy, but
yeah. And so I kind of felt that way when we took Nick Sorten, but I mean, just seeing seeing the film, seeing the grades that he got, I felt really good about that pick. But yeah, heads and shoulders above last year's draft, in my opinion. And I'm definitely happy that even though they drafted Xavier Legette in the first round last year, they realized that maybe he's just not enough for what Bryce needs. We still need another receiver who could be a true number 1 going forward. So all in all, shout out to the front office.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that last point that you made. I know I'd be shitting on Excel for his drop problem and everything. I think it was more so Tet is just a generational talent at wide receiver, and you just can't really afford to pass up on somebody like that, that caliber of receiver.
That's high praise. Can we go slow?
I feel like that will make the statement stand true then.
More so than not having, I'm saying more so than not having belief in Excel, just being this guy's too good to pass up on, and we can pair him with the Excel. But that's just a small thing. But all in all, man, I think the Panthers really did have a phenomenal draft. It was obviously I wanted Tet bad for my own team, but I think that was a great pickup. And then double dipping at edge so early with 2 of the upper end edge rushers in the class and an extremely deep edge class was pretty impressive. The ETN pick was a bit of a head scratcher, but even that I can almost justify in the sense of Rico's on a 1-year contract and Jonathan Brooks tore his ACL twice in the last 2 years. There's no telling if he's going to come back. And while we might not have as high of an opinion on ETN as other people, the Panthers front office and their scouting team might have felt like this is a guy that we can see being a nice complementary back in the future, especially given that we have 2 running backs with uncertain futures on the roster already. And then you add, you got another safety, one that we were all kind of looking for, in a hard-hitting safety, and the kid from out of Ohio State. You still added depth. Yeah, Ransom.
Nathan Ransom,
Yep. You still added depth along the D-line with Cam Jackson. We also thought tight end might be a need for this team. They added depth there, getting the kid from Notre Dame, Mitchell Evans. And then I loved going back and getting Jimmy Horn, because it just gives you a little bit more versatility in that wide receiver room. Because I think Jimmy Horn's pretty much going to be a slot guy. I think we can all agree. Even in college, he took, 95% of his snaps out of the slot. So you add another explosive weapon into the slot to pair with your new weapon, and to pair with XL, and to pair with Jalen Coker. I mean, that receiving room just got a whole lot more explosive. So I think all in all, man, the Panthers really, everything that we've been hoping and screaming for them to address, they did in this draft. And I think for that reason alone, now the players have to do what they got to do when they get there. And, ideally they'll all pan out, but we know that's not going to be the case. There's going to be at least 1 or 2 flame outs, just based off statistics. But they touched every need. They touched every need, and I think they addressed it. And for that, I got to give them a solid grade. Did we give out grades?
No, not yet. Not yet. We'll get to it.
But, yeah, for that, I have to say they had a solid draft, and I really enjoyed that.
For sure. And just speaking on the Jimmy Horn thing real quick, that was my guy for you, or was that an honorable mention? I can't remember last week. I don't know.
I think it might have been my guy. I don't know. I don't know for sure, though.
Well, I know that you're on this podcast, at the very least, you were the one that was most vocal about what you believe Jimmy Horn had the ability to be and do. And I see a lot of people, talk about his lack of production at the college level, just based on the stats and based on the numbers and things of that nature. I don't really necessarily think that Jimmy Horn is coming in here to be a wide receiver 2 or 3, but he's going to be a phenomenal depth add if the Carolina Panthers decide that he will make the team after this summer. So.
And probably solid special teams guy as well. But
yeah,
you also got to think about in that Colorado receiving room. I mean, LaJohntay Webster got drafted above him. He was in that room. Travis Hunter was also in that room.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's only one football. Yeah.
Jesus.
So, you can't really expect him to have numbers that are, jumping off the page because of that.
Totally agree.
But I think he'll be a solid pick. It's going to be something like nobody thought Jalen Coker would be what he turned out to be when he came in as an undrafted free agent. So, I think you just got to give him time. You got to give him a chance. That's not a solid pick for where your team stands.
Yeah.
Adam Thielen is getting a year older. He's going to be retiring soon. And I still believe the front office has a little bit of uncertainty with XL. Not saying that they took Jimmy Horn to replace that or anything like that, but I think that if XL doesn't improve for what he did last year, Jimmy Horn has the potential to be a breakout player. The more he gets more experience and, continues to get put on the field. So I think it was a solid pickup.
Yeah, because at the very least, Jimmy Horn is fast.
Yeah.
He runs great routes, and he can get open. So
yeah, if he can't do anything else, those are things that he does extremely well. I agree with that. Also, before we dive more into this as well, just speaking on the Trevor Etienne pick, because we're going to go pick by pick and kind of give our opinions on some of the guys and give our grades overall and things like that. But just speaking on the Trevor Etienne thing, just very briefly, I don't dislike or hate Trevor Etienne by any stretch of the imagination. I think the reason why I had so much cause for pause was just the position that we selected him. That was my biggest thing, because I've done 2 or 3 mocks, or I had done 2 or 3 mocks up to the draft. I'm not one of those guys that burn myself out with mocks. As you guys can tell, just based on this pod, we don't start talking about the draft until 2 or 3 weeks before the draft, just because that's just not what we do. There are other content creators in this space that do a phenomenal job, and a lot of you guys, if you all watch this show, I come to you guys for a lot of some of the research and stuff that I do. So that's just not my thing. I say all of that to say the 2 or 3 mock drafts that I've done, even the one that I turned in for the challenge, I had Trevor Etienne being selected, but it was like in the 6th round, 5th or 6th round. Now, I know that there was a run on running backs during this time. I actually said on the stream with Duncan Lowe that I believe that their guy was Scatterable, but because, he went up like 8 or 9 picks before the Carolina Panthers turn came, I believe that it was almost I won't say panic, but I will say it was almost a panic. It was almost like a very reactionary move, in my opinion, to take Trevor Etienne that high. I still do believe that, but that's not to speak towards what I believe he can be. I know a lot of the hesitation with Etienne is there wasn't very, very similar with Jimmy Horn. There wasn't a overwhelming year or a time where he had overwhelming stats that makes him seem like he's going to be an immediate impact guy. But when you look at his production last year, even though he didn't get many touches, I think he was averaging like 6 yards a carry, if I'm not mistaken. So I understand where some of the frustration and some of the hesitation with this pick is coming from within the fan base as well as myself. But like Tavian just mentioned, it kind of makes sense because you do only have Rico for 1 year. We don't know what Jonathan Brooks is going to look like in 26. So there are going to be some question marks in that running room behind Chuba Hubbard once we hit the offseason next year. So this is not a terrible pick, round 4, round 5, whenever it was, at 114. So all of that being said, what did you have?
I was about to say, I don't think it's a terrible pick, but I still think that it's one of your more outlier picks.
Yes,
Like,
the value.
Yeah.
The value just simply – the value didn't match up to what we had seen in the previous 3 rounds.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say, just to piggyback off of that. The value didn't match up, right? Let's just dive into this really quickly, okay? Because I just want to get to it since we've kind of already started with Trevor, and we'll circle back to him. And I guess this can fall under the draft recap aspect of things. So just off of that, the value just didn't add up to what we had seen the first 3 rounds, right? Because everybody has something to say about Nalo, right? And I'm not coming up here to say why you start laughing.
Bruh, it's just when I hear that name, bro.
Nalo, bro, that's his name, bro. That's what his mama said. His mama said, "Don't call him Tet, because I named him Tetaroa." That's what she said in a press conference. And bro said, "You can call me T-Mac or Nalo." So
I thought he said he didn't want to be called T-Mac.
nah, it was that was a miss. That was a so whoever put that out, that was incorrect. That was he said that he prefers Nalo over T-Mac, but he said that we can't call him Ted.
Well, what is
his
Nalo?
mama said?
That's
his nickname. That's his nickname from Hawaii. Nalo boy. So that's his name. So what did I go do? Purchase a fucking processed blue
Nalo boy.
number 4 jersey with Nalo on the back of that.
Oh, no
bitch.
boy.
No, that was a little too far. I drew the line. After the first 4
I
minutes.
mean, you already went over the line when you did that. Like, I just think that's so. I can't even say what I think that is, but yes,
It is.
So all of that being
Fanned
said, yeah, it definitely fanned out. Definitely fanned out for sure. But I don't give a fuck. All of that being said, I believe you got great value at number 8. Now, I'm glad that the draft is over because we can have an honest conversation now. And we'll dive into this a little bit. I don't understand where the fascination was coming from with Jalen Walker. Confusing as fuck. Don't understand where niggas got off, like, stroking their shit to Michael Williams. That was always fucking disgusting and grotesque.
Shout out to the
me.
49ers.
Yeah.
that was fucking nasty. I'm not gonna lie.
Shout out to them. Appreciate y'all. Who else? Mason, I still get it. I still get it with Mason, and I genuinely believe. Now, a lot of people have tried to read into the press conferences after the certain days. So after day 1, there were a couple of moments in that press conference that made me feel like it made me believe that player 1A on the Carolina Panthers board was Mason Graham. I'll say that. But I believe Tetaroa was 1B, and I don't think that it was even really remotely close, to be quite frank. So I understand the noise about Mason Graham, And it looked like for a certain amount of time, it looked like that he was going to fall. And then the front office's hands was going to be tied a little bit in deciding if they were going Mason or Tetaroa. But luckily, it didn't happen that way because I don't know. It would have just caused a lot of confusion and division in the fan base if we would have went Graham or if we would have went Nalo in that situation. It would have just been too much. And overwhelmingly, it was kind of peaceful this weekend on Panthers Twitter. Maybe I was a little bit jaded because I was streaming OD, but it seemed very, very peaceful. I'll say that. It seemed very, very peaceful. So I don't know where some of this, what you got?
I mean, obviously I'm not on Twitter, but what are they feeling about not taking a corner? Because that's where the piece would have been a little disrupted for me.
Well,
personally,
I didn't see anything about that, and I will say this as well. This will just be an open conversation podcast today, just about the draft overall and everything.
Do you think we're good there?
I think that there's still work to do in that room, but I think that we'll go through the undrafted free agents. We don't know. I don't know anything about them, so we're just going to list them off. I think that we got one or two cornerbacks, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we got two. Yeah,
and a safety.
Yes.
I think we got a safety as well, but none of those names was Kobe Bryant. For him to go undrafted and we don't make it happen, and then he ends up in Atlanta, that almost made me want to crash out. But I'm being calm and peaceful today. Because we're recording a day earlier. I just left church about 2.5 hours, 3 hours ago. So I'm calm and peaceful and going to do the right thing in God's eyes.
Yeah, I mean, that was nasty, though.
That is disgusting.
I don't understand how that happens.
I have no idea. But I think you got great values because I've just been going in circles. I apologize. I think you got great value at pick 8. Jalen Walker, y'all were infatuated with him. I don't know why for the life of me. I understand the versatility piece, but even when Dan Morgan comes out and says on the Wednesday before the draft or 2 Wednesdays before the draft, he's going to be an outside linebacker for us, that versatility piece kind of goes out of the window for me. It kind of goes out of the window for me. Like Dan Morgan is telling you, in our defense, this is what he's going to be. He's going to be an outside linebacker. So all of the moving around to inside and potentially being an inside rusher and all of that kind of stuff where you could have potentially saw him being similar to Frankie Louvu, it was out of the window.
Well, I was telling you earlier today what I seen, which I don't understand this, but I was listening to a guy talk about the draft prospects, and obviously it's after the draft, but his video dropped before. He was saying that, like, his floor was number 9 to the New Orleans Saints. Like, that's how good he thought Jalen Walker was. And he was like, he had people asking, like, what really separates him from Abdul, or what really separates the two, him and Abdul Carter. Just that Abdul has better measurables than him, but as far as talent level, they don't believe that there's much separation. And they say his biggest strength is being able to rush the passer and get off the edge. Now, I don't know where the fuck they got that from.
I was about to say, well, I mean, what do you feel about it? What do you think about that?
I mean, I just think that's asinine, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's preposterous.
Yeah, well. I mean, I don't see where they see that at, but yeah.
But, I mean, all of that being said, his stock was going up. Pre-draft, his stock was going up. There were conversations about Jalen Walker not even being available when the Carolina Panthers drafted.
Yeah.
And then on draft night, his stock drops, which I believe he got drafted probably where he should have gotten drafted, because that's kind of where I had him. Even though I don't believe he's a better edge rusher than Donovan, Mike, there's a couple of different names that I don't think that he's better than. But I could understand as a prospect why certain teams would go him, where they go him. I don't even think that he's better than James Pierce, to be quite frank with you. Just to be quite frank, I don't think he's better than James Pierce. But we get to draft night, he starts falling, and then the report comes out that he has a relatively significant shoulder injury, which made me even more ecstatic that the Carolina Panthers just threw all of the smoke and everything at the reporters and everything else. And I genuinely don't believe that Jalen Walker realistically was ever on the Panthers' big board to start with. He may have been I think that he may have been player 2B or 2C. I think there were a couple of guys that we would have went. I think that we would have went Michael before we went Jalen Walker. No cap.
I feel like they probably had him in like the 20s on their big board.
Yeah.
For being transparent, man.
Yeah.
I don't. It was actually a really good thing that they did not draft Jalen Walker, and then to see him go to the Falcons made it just that much better, because it's like we all on this podcast have already said that we don't really believe in the kid, so we don't really think he's going to be anything. So it's nice.
We have said that in very, very nice terms.
Yeah.
Because we were kind of walking on eggshells because we don't want to burn any bridges in relationships before the little nigga get here.
Right. But now that he's not coming.
Yeah, he's dog shit.
He's dog. Yeah.
We can be honest now. Jalen Walker is
garbage.
not what y'all niggas tried to make him to be.
Yeah.
Michael Williams the same way.
Well, the good thing about it is we have to see him twice a year.
Yeah.
So,
And that's exactly where I was going. It makes it nice that somebody who we think is dog shit got drafted by a divisional rival.
Yeah.
So that's a wasted pick, and that's going to set them back. However, they did double dip too.
They double dip.
I like what they did.
And the other one, the other one that they got, not as dog shit.
Yeah, no, I don't
James
think
Pierce,
James Pierce. Yeah.
I don't think, and I saw a lot of people talking about the Falcons and the decision to double dip. They got, I got to figure out the right way to say this. Let's just say they got abused in that trade with, who did they trade with? They traded back up into the first round.
Yeah, I'm about
to
pull it
double
up.
dip on night one. I don't even remember who it was, but let's just say, for the sake of the conversation, they got abused in that deal. There's no way in hell that I'm giving up a first round pick next year
From the Rams.
To the Rams.
Yeah, they got it. Yeah, the Rams was the one.
Got you. Yeah, I'm personally not giving up a first round pick to get James Pierce. That's just JJ. And I think they gave up what? Do you have the details in front of you, or you just have the trade?
Just have the trade.
Okay.
I'm just looking at his grade too. According to ESPN, he was a 90 grade by whatever ESPN metrics are, and then was number 4 ranked edge rusher.
Behind
Jalen Walker, obviously, Abdul Carter, and let's see here.
Nick
Scorton. Yeah, I was about to say, because I seen a lot of people saying that, which going on a little bit further deeper into the value conversation, a lot of people had Nick Scorton on their big board going in the 20s. So that was another opportunity for Dan Morgan and co. to display, we're going to get great value. It was actually Michael was at 3?
Yeah.
And James Pierce was at 4?
Yeah.
That's very interesting. And where is Nick Scorton on that list?
Let's go find him.
Because this number I know per ESPN is going to be very, very jaded based on the fact that there wasn't much sack production.
11.
Yeah, see, there wasn't much sack production, really any season. And I think like his junior or senior year, I can't recall if he played 3 or 4 years, but whatever year he came out on, I think he only had 5 sacks.
And Princely was 15.
And Princely was 15. And I don't think that Princely is 15. I don't know if I agree with that. Let me see. Jeez. What is okay, here we go. Bear with me. My apologies. Last year at A&M for Nick Scorton.
I kept seeing most of his Purdue highlights.
Because that's when he went crazy. That's where he went crazy.
And that list that y'all that list that y'all had sent, I think was the list from the preseason rankings or the end of last year, one of the two, because they still had him with the Purdue beside his name.
Gotcha.
In those rankings. Yeah. And then I think James Pierce was still at the top of the board. And I remember last year at the end of the season, way too early mock drafts and everything like that, James Pierce was like going number 1 in everybody's mock. So I think that screenshot had came from last year.
Possibly. It's very possible. So year 1, freshman year for Nick Scorton, 2 sacks. The following year, which is where I assume he garnered a lot of his value, was the second year he was with Purdue, and he had 10 sacks. And that looked like 50 tackles combined, 15 TFLs, and 10 sacks. And then his last year where he went to A&M, and I don't know what it is with A&M, but I learned this weekend, because this was not something that I was familiar with. They bulk their D ends up, and they damn near have them playing at D tackle weight. So Nick Scorton was playing at 285, 290 at A&M. So, like, unfortunately, yeah, to me it makes sense why your sack production went down. And they don't really ask their edge rushers at Texas A&M to rush the quarterback. They just don't, which is another reason why Shamar Stewart's numbers look the way they look, who is another guy that I'm actually ecstatic that we didn't touch because I saw his name attached to us a time or two as well, and I wasn't feeling it. All of that being said, Nick Scorton really on a lot of big boards was in the top 20s, 20 to 29. On a lot of people's boards, the Carolina Panthers get him in the second round. So, phenomenal value.
Disgusting spin move.
Yes.
Disgusting.
Damn near all he know how to do.
I mean,
On God. On God.
but it's like that guy that has the one, like in basketball or something. He's got a nice crossover, but that's about it. But sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I feel like that's Nick. And, like, if you're that nasty with the spin, because when you get into the league, he'll be able to switch that up a little bit. He'll be able to fake spin, like Von Miller's that made famous, that fake spin. Oh, my God. If he has
Dwight
that
Freeney,
to it.
actually.
Yeah, Dwight was first. But Von Miller perfected it.
Fair.
And then,
we know far too well all about Von Miller perfecting shit.
Mm-hmm.
I damn near want him to. Never mind. I just said. My bad. My bad.
Actually, I'm actually mixed it up. It was actually D. Ware that I'm thinking of with the fake spin. That motherfucker had a nasty fake spin on him. But that's what I see, man. I see a lot of. Hey, don't do that. That's a Hall of Fame.
I was about to say that's one nigga that you can't talk about when it comes to Tavian.
That's the only reason he mentioned him, though.
No, it's because I remember watching a documentary when they were breaking down like his pass rush sets, and he talked about how hard he worked on perfecting his fake spin. That's why I bring it up. But no, that spin move is disgusting. I can't wait to see that get pulled out in a game. That would be fun.
So they had him projected to go in the first round. Most big boards had him projected to go in the fifth round, and
fifth or first.
I mean, first, excuse me. Thank you.
That would have been nasty.
Yeah, that would have been disgusting. That would have me irate. I'm not going to lie. So they had him projected to go in the first round. We end up getting him at 51. And we moved up to make this pick. Because we didn't have what happened?
Yeah, I just felt like you were about to say something crazy.
Oh, no. Nah, not this time. So we moved up to get him. And then I think we moved like 3 positions back in the third round. But obviously that was part of the plan. Obviously Nick Scorton was a guy that was high on the Carolina Panthers board, and they took a chance to go get him. I love the aggressiveness, bro. I loved the aggressiveness all throughout the weekend to not sit idly by.
Yeah, Terrence, I want to hear what you got to say about Prince, because that was like a your guy, damn near.
Yeah.
Princely, yeah.
Yeah, I was happy that we got him because I watched a couple of their games, him and Walter Nolan, and, I mean, they were really just terrorizing shit on that D-line. So I was very happy with that pick. I didn't think that we would have a chance of getting him, honestly, because I think that he's one of the better edge rushers throughout the draft class. So I was super excited, and I can't wait to see him play because I damn near think that – like, I think those guys are going to get a lot of playing time early, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, so for sure.
Yeah, I'll be excited to see him and Nick Scorton playing alongside each other to see what they can do. I was very happy with that pick.
Let me check this just to make sure we don't. Okay, never mind. It's coming up.
As far as, like, the production and starters and stuff like that?
No. I was going to say people getting booted out of that edge room.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to have a real-life conversation about that, actually.
Your boy.
Because who's my boy? Amari?
Yeah.
Oh, Amari's fried.
Yeah, I think
Appreciate your hey, Amari Barno. If you just so happen to come across this, thank you so much for your services. We appreciate everything that you ever did for the organization and the hard work and dedication. It was honestly not worth shit, to be frank. But all of that being said, we're very appreciative. Thank you so much. You'll forever be a part of our history. Nigga. Beat the traffic.
Your other boy.
DJ Johnson, sorry ass is gone.
What was that stat? I think.
Oh shit! I'm glad you brought it up. Oh shit!
Where,
Bro,
was it like,
we could legit make
Oh,
a montage
shit.
of all the times that JJ's done this.
Oh my god!
is it
I
like
gotta
a
find it.
half sack or something like that?
Oh my god, bro! The shit is just
It's
it's
just
an
nasty.
atrocity.
Oh, you're talking about how close them two that y'all
DJ
just drafted?
Johnson is scoring.
Yeah, to having
I
sacks in
just
the NFL.
this
Yeah.
is per Mike K.
I mean,
This is disgusting. So if you need to go get a brown paper bag, I'd highly encourage to do it right this second. This is our warning. Per Mike K, and I quote, I just realized DJ Johnson will turn 27 in October. Nick Scorton doesn't turn 21 until August. An NFL half sack separates them entering OTAs. So DJ Johnson, his whole and let me just stay focused and stay the course. His whole career, DJ Johnson has a half motherfucking sack in the NFL.
And we're going on year
And he's
3.
27 bitch ass years old. Or will be in October, excuse me. So in 5.5 months. And Nick Scorton is not even 21 yet. And he's coming in only a half sack behind him. Absolute. I mean, that move alone almost will support you guys' cause in case that Ejiro should be fired. Literally, because that's an EJ guy. So it almost does us some good that EJ's ass was back towards the door in the war room.
Was that him crying? Is that what they found out?
Nah, it wasn't EJ. It wasn't EJ crying. I still need y'all to give me the name of the nigga that was in the war room crying behind measly bitch ass behind measly DJ Johnson, shedding tears behind DJ fucking Johnson. But cool. And to be honest, I think that's why I have a big smile on my face today, because I didn't have to deal with no dumbass shit like that. Even the ETN pick is never going to amount to taking DJ Johnson, trading up for him in the 3rd round. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I think that'll probably go down as the worst trade that we've ever seen on draft night.
Yeah.
For the
It's
purposes
embarrassing.
of this podcast.
Yes.
For what we talk about.
For the
That's probably
value, for
the worst.
yes.
We're great for content, though. That was a great trade for content. But oh my god,
DJ Johnson. And we got grown ass men shedding tears behind him. And that shit is okay.
Maybe he coached them or something.
Yeah, that's cool, nigga. And that's the problem with this organization. Everybody wants a feel good fucking story. If he can't produce, why is he here? But we're gonna talk about it because it's an honest conversation. And let's just talk about Princely very quickly, because I just wanted to highlight just the value that we're getting for these guys. Specifically the 2nd and 3rd round picks. A lot of people had Nick Scorton, as I mentioned multiple times, top 20 on their draft board, projected 1st round pick. We get him at 51, and then we do double dip with Princely. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name. Y'all know who I'm talking about. We get him 77 overall. And he was a guy that was projected to go in the 1st or in the 2nd round. He was a guy that was projected to go in the 2nd round. Do we want to have the conversation now? Because we're going to continue to go through the list of our draft picks, obviously. So if you're a viewer, whatever the case may be, we just want to make the conversation make sense and make our flow fit correctly. Do we want to have the conversation now about Jadeveon Clowney?
Yeah, I think so, because I just happened to see I heard what Dan Morgan said, but now I'm just happened to see it in words. So,
And are we wrapping up our draft recap, or are we combining these two?
We're gonna I don't know how I want to do it. Let's just continue to go through it. Let's just continue to go through it.
Because I just want to keep everything together here on my end.
I'm tracking. We'll continue to go through the draft recap.
All right, I can throw it in there as a topic because I feel like it fits. So we can continue.
Yeah, it fits the who's on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, we're gonna have a very brutally honest conversation about Jadeveon Clowney here right this second. Well, not right this second, but on this episode for sure.
And what were you about to read off about Dan? Was it Dan?
Yeah, it was related
Clowney.
to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he had a comment, which is really what kicked this whole thing off. I think after day 2, because I don't know who asked him the question. It may have been Dave Newton, or maybe I'm giving him too much credit. I can't remember who asked the question, but somebody asked him a question about Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, Terrence, you have it, right?
Yeah, they don't say who asked the question, but they said like what was asked and what was his response.
Yeah.
What was it?
So they were like, when General Manager Dan Morgan was asked Friday if the plan was to keep Clowney, he simply said the roster is being evaluated.
Shit.
Yeah, and said it like, yeah, it's being evaluated.
Like,
Yeah,
nigga,
and then
you
because
might be clipped.
you made an interesting comment when we were talking the other day, following rounds 2 and 3, about cutting Jadeveon being $7 million.
7.7.
Post June 1st or pre June 1st?
Pre June 1st.
Yeah, pre June 1st, you get free up $7 million in cap space.
And honestly, for the sake of the conversation, you free up $8 million in cap space because it's 7.7 or 7.8. I'm gonna round up. That's $8 million that you can go and invest in the Julian Blackmon. Because with all due respect, I love what I've seen so far from Lathan Ransom.
He ain't.
But he's just, honestly, to me personally, he's just Trayvon Merring. Just in case he goes down. Our poor man's Trayvon Merring.
Yeah, that's
to
why.
be quite frank,
I wasn't extremely ecstatic about that pick, just because all you see in his highlights is him coming down to hit, like, which is nice, which is good.
Good
But
run support
for what we need, and I said this multiple weeks ago, that to pair with the safety that we have, you kind of need a ball hawk. That's why I like Xavier Watts in that position better. But obviously we wasn't able to get him. But yeah, so I don't think that this necessarily takes care of the dire need at safety.
Yeah,
honestly,
it would have been so nice if Makuba. I mean, dude, he went.
I was about to say they got him quick too, didn't they?
Second.
Second.
End of the second, man. I mean, that was a great pickup by the Eagles, but I mean, I think that caught everybody a little bit off guard because everybody was thinking like this guy might be there in the third, fourth, but everybody knew he was much more talented than a third, fourth round. But they were thinking like maybe he's just gonna slide. Philly made an absolute right call and went ahead and snatched them up, especially because they had limited picks in those first couple rounds. So
yeah, and he was a guy that garnered a lot of traction the last couple of weeks. Last couple of weeks of pre-draft shenanigans, he garnered a lot of traction, and you started seeing his name a lot more in a lot of different mocks to a lot of different teams, higher and higher and higher. Yeah. Now, second round, I didn't imagine that at all.
I had actually heard a conversation about it from somebody in a Cowboys content creator space. His name is Vach Lombardi. Really, really big into the draft. Like him, this guy named Brian Broaddus used to be a former scout for the Green Bay Packers, now has transitioned more into the media side of things. They do their thing together. They go through like 200 players every offseason. They go through an entire list of like 220 some odd players and break it down. When they stumbled upon Andrew Makuba, I mean, they were like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
They were talking about Dallas potentially taking him at 44 in the second round. So it's like,
would you have been happy about that?
Not if Ezraku was on the board.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. No. They did that perfectly in my opinion. But that's my 2 minutes today.
Okay. Understood.
but no. But I wouldn't have been mad at it had the other players been gone and they went Makuba. I wouldn't have been mad at it either because he is that type of talent.
Sure. So let's get back to it. So then we go through. So cool. We get Princely in the third. Then we get to the fourth, and we go Trevor. We don't have to spend too much time on that, just because Dunk made a good point. Like I'm not gonna penalize or demoralize the player based on what the organization did. I think this is more of a conversation to be had regarding the organization. I think that you played the first 3 rounds perfectly, and closing the stream with Duncan Lowe on day 2, I specifically said the Carolina Panthers have played these first 2 days flawlessly. Do not get complacent and don't get comfortable. Because rounds 4 through 7 are very, 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 very important because you can find gems there as well.
Yeah.
And it felt like they did the exact opposite. Because the first pick of the day for the Carolina Panthers, we go ETN. who to me is no higher, and I say this not to show any disrespect to him or to shit on him in any way, but he's no higher than a 5th, maybe even a 6th round pick. So that was very frustrating for me.
Do you think it could have been a scheme fit thing? Because just reading his description on ESPN, Etienne runs behind his pads and accelerates through the line as an inside runner. He makes late cuts between tackles and makes defenders miss in space without losing much forward momentum. Etienne ran well at the combine and is a threat to rip off long runs when he gets a crease. He flashes as a route runner and is dangerous after the catch. He follows his blocks and explodes upfield on screens, which
My only thing is
sounds a lot like the Panthers, like
Sure.
a good fit for the Panthers.
Sure, and I would agree. And I want to hear your opinion on this as well. Since we might as well just dive into the pick since we're having a conversation. I would agree. Schematically, sure. Is he a good fit? Yes. But my biggest thing is with the value, because I think that in that position, especially with us not getting one of these, in that position, a linebacker is a lot more valuable than Trevor Etienne.
So I'm glad you said that, because the very next pick was a linebacker from Ohio State, Cody Simon.
Right.
Or Simon.
Right. Coming
Cody
off the
Simon,
board,
yeah.
and he went to who?
The Cardinals.
Exactly. And there was value there. And
He
when
was
did
the
Danny Stutzman come off? Because I don't think Stutzman came off either.
He went to New Orleans, right?
He
Yeah.
was off the board already. He went
was
to New
already
Orleans
off?
2 picks before the ETN.
Okay. And Duncan Lowe made a good point while we were on stream as well, that he's just not necessarily the type of linebacker that the Carolina Panthers look for, because he's a
talking
little
about
bit heavier. Danny
Stutzman, okay.
Yeah. He's just not. But irregardless, let's just stay on track with the ETN pick. Irregardless, I think that because we're talking about value, right? Because you address the edge problem going back to back. You address the wide receiver problem. You go BPA in that situation. That was the right pick. Tedero McMillan in that situation was the best pick, especially if you couldn't move off of 8. He just simply was. I don't want to even have a conversation about that with any fucking body. That was the right pick. So you go flawless in days 1, 2, and 3, or 1 and 2. Then you come back and you still need a running back, which I understand. But you don't need a running back more than you need a linebacker, more than you need a cornerback, and damn near not more than you need an offensive tackle with all of the stuff that's coming out about Moton right now. It's just not that valuable, bro. Like, you could have waited and gone running back in the 6th round, because listen to me. Though we can have the conversation about what the running back room looks like next year, this year, right this second, you have 2 1,000-yard rushers in your room.
Right.
And even if Chuba goes down, God forbid. I mean, God forbid. But even if Chuba goes down, you still have another 1,000-yard rusher. And not for nothing, I know that he's not a superstar, and he's not the most productive guy. But for whatever it's worth, not for nothing, Raheem Blackshear is still on the fucking roster. You went out of your way to bring him back. So, yeah, in that situation, yeah, I'm just not pressed in round 4 to go get running back 3 or running back 4. I'm just personally not that pressed. I'm not.
And I do think it's a weird thing. I'm not defending the ETN pick at all, because I do think they kind of fucked up there, because Cody Simon, the linebacker, was the number 6th ranked linebacker, according to ESPN.
Yeah.
So that would have been more value, right, versus ETN, who was the 14th ranked running back. And then a little bit later on, though, because if you did want to go running back, say, right, Dylan Sampson, the running back from Tennessee, was the 7th ranked running back, and he didn't go until
I think he's coming off an injury.
pick
though.
24.
So I think that's
I
why.
think
he's coming off a
too.
big injury. That's why he kind of slipped.
But and Jaden Blue is still available too, right?
Yeah,
Because y'all
Jaden
didn't
Blue
draft
didn't
him
get
until like the 5th
picked
or 6th
until
round.
the 5th.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that, to be honest, I think that Blue is a better running back than ETN. Obviously, ETN provides you with a little bit more pop in his game, right? And he adds the additional dynamic of being able to catch the football out of the backfield. But again, you have Chuba, you have Rico, you have Raheem. So I don't even know if there was any running back. And this is why I said I don't want to specify it and personalize it to ETN because I don't know if there's any running back in that situation that I'm willing to go. But, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, kind of what y'all said. Like, I wasn't a big fan of the pick. Like you said, especially when you have other needs that, need to be addressed in that situation. But I don't hate ETN as a prospect because he also provides special team value as well. He plays special teams at Georgia too. So I guess that could be a way that they were looking at it. And then I guess, like, if there were just some of the players on the board at the time that they just didn't like or just didn't fit what they were looking for in that player in that particular position group, I understand it. Like, but I mean, I still think there could have been better moves made there. But that would be my reason of why this isn't. Like, I love this draft class, but if you're going to ask me the difference between one letter grade over the other, I would look back at this pick and be like, that would be the reason why.
Okay, I respect that. So then we follow that up with our second fourth-round pick of the day being Lathan Ransom. We were hollering about on FPFO. And to rewind, we're talking about needs at that particular time, right? I think you needed a safety in that situation more than you needed a running back. But again, I mean, this pick came.
It kind of depends on who was on the board then, too.
Yeah.
That's something else that I would say as well
because,
in regards to that pick.
I think Atlanta took Malachi and I think his name is Bobby Bowman from, I don't know exactly where he's from. I think maybe Oklahoma. Let me see. Let me pull it up so we can speak in fact. Bowden, is that his name? No.
Do you remember the round?
That is. I'm just gonna I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna pull the.
While you're doing that, shout out to Tonka Hemingway, best name in the draft. I saw that.
That's your nigga.
I don't know who he is, but Tonka Hemingway, what a name.
Billy Bowman. Atlanta took Billy Bowman at 118, who was a guy that was high on Carolina's board. He had a 30 visit, I'm pretty sure. So that was a safety that we had already been looking at, who provides a different type of play style than Trayvon Merrick, who you went out in free agency and brought in and gave a good size bag to. He went 118, and Xavier Watts, they took Xavier Watts as well at 96. So, at 114, we got Bowman available. Let's go get Bowman. I mean, I just don't know, bro. I just think it was a misstep. And then for you to come back with Lathan Ransom, yes, obviously he's going to have the opportunity and the ability to start because there's nobody else in the fucking room. There's Trayvon, there's Damani, and I'm sure there's another name or two that I'm forgetting, but those other names or twos just simply aren't competing for a starting job. They're not. So the value there is just kind of off a little bit. Now, I will say I like Ransom's attitude. I'm not going to sit here and lie to y'all. I haven't done much study on him. Actually, I haven't done any study on him.
He can hit.
I know that he can hit because I've seen the highlight tape. That's it. And I did watch a little bit of I did watch a couple of Ohio State football games. But when I'm watching college football, and this is probably not the best thing to do, but I'm just watching the game. I'm not necessarily hyper focusing on particular players. That's just how I am. Unless you just absolutely jump off the paper to me or jump off the screen to me. Like Mason Taylor, the tight end from LSU, is an example I'll give. Tedero McMillan. I watched a lot of T-Mac at the beginning of the year, last college football season, and I had absolutely no idea who he was. And I think at this point, Terrence, this is when we were making our list in preparation for the betting season ahead of us.
Yeah.
And I think that it was a late night. We had a bullshit ticket in, and we were sweating it, and Tedero put on a fucking show.
Yeah,
and we were like, who in the fuck is this?
We're like, he's going on. He's going on the next ticket.
Yeah, 1,000%. 1,000%. So all of that being said, I'm not too familiar with Lathan Ransom's game, but just based on what I saw, strictly from the highlight tape, he's damn near identical to Trayvon Merrick. If you turn Trayvon Merrick's highlight tape on, turn the colors off, take the logos off the helmets, and you do the same thing and you line it up side by side with Lathan Ransom, I don't know who is who.
But you called Merrick an ankle muncher or an ankle biter.
Yeah, and he is. But so it is a little different. No, it is a little different. You're right. Because Ransom is going to attempt at the very least to run through your face, man. Trayvon likes doing that diving shit that Dante Jackson did. So, but it's okay. You know, I have an open mind. And I'm excited after this draft. So maybe they see something in him I don't. Maybe he is that one supporting.
He played football at the highest level in college. I mean, his team won a national championship.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he has some accolades attached to his name, but just hopefully they'll translate well.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
We don't. And it's hard to ever know what these guys for. All of this is just speculation up to this point. Moving on to the 5th round, we go get Cam Jackson, 6'6", 342, if I'm not mistaken. And what I'll say about him is this is a guy that you needed because there was no real true stopgap run defender in that defensive tackle room. Like, yes, you have guys that can ball. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying that this nigga is going to come in and start or anything like that. But at 6'6", 342, I damn near think he's the biggest defensive tackle in that room. And sometimes you just need a big, nasty nigga that's just going to sit in the middle of that whole pile and just say, hey, you might go to C or D gap, but nigga, you not coming through A or B. So you need to bounce that bitch wherever you going to bounce it, but not here.
I mean, and when you're the last team in the league when it comes to stopping the run, you can't really go wrong with a pick like that.
Yeah, I agree. So this was another pick that I liked. In the moment, I'm indifferent because I'm not familiar with his game. But, you know, as we look back at it, like, that's a pick that the Carolina Panthers needed. It was. Then we move on, and outside of Tetaroa, and this is going to sound crazy, so y'all might as well just go ahead and mentally prepare for it to sound crazy. But outside of Tetaroa, this is my favorite pick in the draft. I love what they did at 2 and 3. I like the way they played it. I like the value that they got for it. But Mitchell Evans, to me, is my favorite pick in this draft outside of Tetaroa. It is. I think that Mitchell Evans has the ability to be a starter. And I actually tweeted out last night as I was just going through some of the shit, looking at some of the film and some of the tape and things of that nature. I tweeted out last night that I believe Mitchell Evans is going to be starting for the Carolina Panthers by week 11 or 12 of this season. I think that he's going to get more reps, and I think that he's going to be starting over Tommy Tremble and JT Sanders. And y'all know how I feel about JT Sanders.
It is weird hearing you say that because when I brought up the Tyler Warren thing, you were like, tried to say that JT was serviceable and better and you didn't need it, but then
it's the value. It's the value.
It's just strange.
It's a 6th-round pick.
I'm just saying, round. It's just strange. That's all.
And we won't have the Tyler Warren conversation, but yeah, no, because we're talking about having to go Tyler Warren at 8.
Yeah, I mean,
Fuck
yes,
no.
yeah.
There's no conversation.
Yeah,
I'm talking about a nigga that we drafted in the 5th or 6th.
Yeah, and I don't know if I agree that he'll be starting by week 11, but I don't dislike this pick either just because I think that he is more so of a receiving tight end, obviously, than Tommy Tremble and can be comparable to JT Sanders as well. We just haven't seen a lot from JT just because of injury-wise and things like that. So I don't think – and Tommy got injured during the season as well. So, I mean, I don't hate this pick. Yeah, yeah. So I don't hate this pick by the Panthers and going to shore up that tight end room. And it's always good to have someone on the roster who's going to make other guys compete. Don't ever feel like your spot is just going to be handed to you and that's going to be solidified. No, we're going to bring guys in who are going to be able to test you and making sure that everybody on the roster is getting better. And so that's why I like this move because I think he does have the potential to be, you know, when you have a younger quarterback, you want their safety blanket to be someone like the tight end. Right now, Adam Thielen serves that role for Bryce Young, but it can get a lot more dangerous if you have someone at tight end who's able to, you know, kind of bring up that production, like kind of like a Greg Olsen type thing or a guy like that. So, I mean, he definitely is going to test this tight end room, so I'm excited to see what that competition looks like.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what they consistently talk about. It has been the message from day one of this new regime has been challenge the roster. We're going to continue to challenge the roster. We're going to continue to bring in guys that challenge the roster and force guys within the building to compete. I love it. I love it. I think they did a phenomenal job at that. Right? It's that message was portrayed no louder than it was at pick number 8 because we talked about it. Damn near almost too much, right? But you did draft Xavier Leggett in the first round last year. And you did trade up to get him. But we saw the production or lack thereof from Xavier Leggett last year. So don't worry about it, big bro. Just sit right there. Just sit right there and just know that we're going to go get this guy at 8. And we're going to have him be the wide receiver 1 for the time being, or at least think that he's going to be the wide receiver 1 for the time being. And if you just so happen to develop, which JJ believes he will, then you just do. But if you don't and you fuck off, no problem at all because the future is here. So don't worry about it. Challenge the roster.
I don't – this question might not be appropriate for this segment, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
Do you think that T-Mac could already potentially be the wide receiver 1 coming in?
I think he should. Yeah. I mean, it's appropriate enough for the conversation that we're having right now. Absolutely. I do believe that based on the history with him and Bryce Young, it already being alleged that they were already working out, throwing together and everything like that pre-draft, the relationship that they have all the way back from, their high school days and just the rivalry that their high schools were a part of, how highly T-Mac speaks about Bryce Young. Yes, I do believe that coming in day 1, that T-Mac should be viewed as wide receiver 1. Absolutely. Now, should he be given it? Because you remember last year or 2 years ago when we drafted Bryce, and they said, it was fucking 4 or 5 days into the process, and they were like, Bryce Young is our quarterback 1, right? And at that time, I had a problem with it because I'm just like, hey, this little nigga ain't done shit. Don't just let him walk in and give him the keys to the city.
Well, it was the same thing with that Deontay Johnson when they told him that he would be the X receiver, and me and you were going back and forth, and I was like, I just don't know if he should have that title as of yet. And so I think, that could kind of play that same role there. Or what does your personnel look like then?
As far as wide receiver 1 through whatever?
Yeah.
I will say the first thing, and just wrapping up the draft recap, obviously in the 6th round, we go Jimmy Horn. Jimmy Horn Jr. from Colorado. I think that was a great pick. I think it was smart.
Would you have rather had a cornerback?
I would have rather had Kobe Bryant, yes. I would have rather had Kobe Bryant, but, I mean.
They had the opportunity to do that after the draft.
Yeah,
and
they
I
had
don't
the
know
opportunity.
What the fuck they did.
Yeah, so however I view Kobe Bryant and however I view the need for a cornerback, they obviously don't view it the same.
Yeah, I mean, apparently the reason Kobe fell off is because he was too light.
Yeah.
A lot of teams didn't like
I mean, he's
his
very
size.
little.
Yeah.
He's very little. I think I saw one, I don't know when this was, but one outlet or something like that had him at 171.
Yeah.
And then somehow or another throughout this whole process, he got bumped up to 180.
Yeah, they said he gained 10 pounds.
Yeah, he's still light in the ass. But I think that kind of plays it. And on top of that, he didn't run that good. I think he ran a 4.55 or something like that. So when you're that slender and you're not, 4.3.5, 4.4, and we're talking about 4.5.5, yeah, nah, maybe not. But I just like the edge that he plays with. So in that moment, yes, I would have rather had Kobe Bryant. But if you don't have him mocked there and his value isn't what I believe it to be, then don't touch him. Don't touch him. And if we call you and we have a conversation and our numbers don't align and Atlanta pays you more, you should go there. That he made the right decision for himself, and I think the Carolina Panthers made the best decision for the organization. To answer your question, there's going to have to be a conversation about how many wide receivers the Carolina Panthers take into the season. And obviously, all of this is extremely premature, right? we're literally just coming out of the draft. We haven't seen a Carolina Panthers T-shirt put on. We ain't seen no compression shirt. We haven't seen shit. All of this is very, very premature. But there's going to have to be a conversation about the amount of wide receivers the Carolina Panthers take into the season, which if you look back at last year, they only took 5. And throughout the whole summer, I was calling for them to keep 6, maybe even 7, right? So that is going to play a part into it. But that being said, if it's me, extremely premature, no training camp, no rookie OTAs, no nothing, I'm going Tetaroa 1. I'm going Xavier 2. I'm going Thielen 3. Because and the only reason why I'm saying Thielen is 3 and XL is 2 is because everything that I've heard out of the building is that XL is on different fucking timing. That's all I've heard. And that's the only name that I continue to hear is on different fucking timing, is Xavier Legette. So if that's the case, then I predict he'll be receiver 2, Thielen 3, because, I mean, we're coming off of, 700 plus yards while being down for 4 or 5 games in a year. Coker 4, David Moore 5, and Jimmy Horn 6. Now, I believe if the Panthers are smart, and this is going to be tough because David Moore is a Dave Canales guy. So it's going to be hard if they only decide to keep 5 receivers. It's going to be hard for Jimmy Horn to stay on that roster unless he proves significant value in the special teams game. But I believe that Jimmy Horn should make the roster over David Moore. I do, because I think he adds a little bit more than David Moore does. Now, obviously, David Moore is a veteran, all of those things, but I just think that the upside is a little bit higher for Jimmy Horn than it is for David Moore. So that's what my room will look like. Would you change anything on that?
Nah, that would be pretty much same that I have.
Cool. So, yeah, I mean, that wrapped up the draft. The Jimmy Horn selection in the 6th round wrapped up the draft. Overall, I think the Carolina Panthers did a phenomenal job. Let's go to the draft pick grades. Let's go to draft pick grades, and let's go through this relatively quick. And we honestly could have did it right then when we were breaking it down, but let's just go back through it. Tetaroa, give me an A through F. What the criteria is based on what you believe they'll be, their floor, their ceiling, combined with the value at which we got them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's all inclusive. It's include everything, A through F. Tetaroa, for me, I'm going to go with A+. And we can go through it quickly, just popcorn.
Yeah, I will go A+ as well.
A+.
Nick Scorton, I'm gonna go a B on Nick Scorton. Even though they did get phenomenal value for him, a first-round projected guy, you get him in the 2nd round, I'm going to go a B right here just because there was a lack of production at A&M, but I understand the reason why that lack of production was there, but it was still there nevertheless. So I'm going to go B there.
I'm going to go B+, and I'm going to go that based off potential, what I think he could be, and then him coming in and being like, he could be a day 1 starter, and just looking at the tape, has phenomenal tape, so.
Yeah, I'm going to go B as well. I'm going to go B because I think I would want to grade the edges together personally.
Okay, but we'll grade them together.
Together, I would give them an A because you grabbed 2, and 2 with really high ceilings, but production was still a little bit questionable for both of them.
Yeah.
But together, I would give it an A. But.
And I would lean on that side as well if we'll grade them together. So we can grade them together.
Okay.
And I'm going to go A-.
Together, I will go A.
Okay. I'm going to go A- just because there is lack of production. There is a lot left to be desired on the stat sheet. Mm-hmm. But with the value, again, projected first rounder, you get in the 2nd. Projected 2nd rounder, you get in the 3rd, and you double dip on the same day. I'm going to go A-. And the only reason why it's a minus is because there is room for development and proof that you actually have what it takes to play on this level. Who was after that? Trevor. Oh, again, no slight to him by any stretch of the imagination. But for team needs at that particular time, what was still available on the board, the running back that you selected, his value being extremely misconstrued in y'all's head compared to JJ's, I'm gonna say a D plus on the Trevor on the Trevor Etienne selection.
That's crazy.
Gosh, Jesus Christ. I'm gonna go C minus.
Okay.
I'm gonna go C minus. Just because I don't think they necessarily drafted him just to be like a prominent figure in that running back room. I think that he will add a lot of special teams value. That's what I kept seeing about him. And you need that. So I'm gonna go C minus, even though I didn't really like the pick there, but I'll give C minus.
And I'm gonna go D plus as well. Actually, I think we're kind of in line with our thinking about how they drafted. Yeah, I'm gonna go D plus for that one as well. I didn't like the value, and I also just thought that there was better players on the board, or there was better players that you could have even gotten in the 6th, 7th round. So for those reasons, I do have to give it a D plus. Nothing against Trevor, and I really do hope he proves to be one of those dudes. But I just I wasn't a fan of that pick. That was a head scratcher.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even have to spend much more time on it. Lathan Ransom. This is where I'm going to start going slow and just being very mindful and thoughtful on my grades.
Well, I'll go ahead and give you mine then, since you're thinking.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a C.
Okay.
I almost want to go lower just because I keep saying, like, you need a ball hawk to pair with Trayvon Merring. Like, you just do, especially seeing what the shit happened with Xavier Woods. I just don't know how comfortable I feel rolling Trayvon Merring out and Lathan Ransom when they both do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go C, and I'm trending towards a D, but I'll keep it cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to actually give that one a C+. I like the value a lot better in that position. I think Ransom does have really good film, and I do think he played at the highest level. And, I like hard-hitting safeties. So I think for the value and what he can bring, I'm going to give him a C+ for that pick.
Okay. I'll go C minus. You needed a safety. So you had to, you couldn't leave the draft without one. And just kind of, it just fucks me up because you should have went safety at the ETN pick if you were going to go safety. So that's why I'm going to say C minus. And I'm just going to leave it there right now because he's going to be one of the guys that I'm going to just give a clean slate and just see what he develops into. Everybody in this class is not that way, unfortunately, just because of the expectations and just the positioning and things like that. But I'm going to give him a clean slate, and I'm just going to see what he turns into, and I'm going to just say C minus for the time being. Mitchell Evans was after that? Is that correct?
Correct. No.
Jackson, right?
Cam Jackson.
Yep, Cam Jackson. B minus. Just because, you had a problem defensively, specifically D-line, specifically run defense. I don't know what the board looked like, and I'm not familiar enough with a lot of the prospects towards the later rounds to really, really say that Cam Jackson is X, Y, or Z. The only thing that I know is that he's 6'6", 342. His primary job is going to be to clog up the middle. And from some of the workout videos and shit that I've seen, he has extremely fluid hips, and he's extremely quick off of that fucking football. So I'm going to go B minus with the Cam Jackson pick. I'm
going to go B, and I think it's because kind of the conversation that y'all have with Mason Graham, like justifying us if we were to take Mason Graham with that 8th pick, and not comparing him to Mason Graham at all. But I think if you want to talk about being able to rotate guys in and out, I think that he's going to fall into that rotation, and it makes me feel better getting him there because you went and got 2 highly rated edge rushers to go alongside of that. And so that's why I didn't like Mason Graham at 8, just because I didn't really know what you would be able to do as far as edge in the back half of that draft. But being that we did take care of the edge needs, then I think that's a guy that'll be a good fit within that D tackle room. And kind of learn from the guys like DB and Ashawn. And I think he'll be a good rotational piece to where DB gets tired, Ashawn gets tired, you're still not running the fucking ball down our throat.
Yeah. And before you even get there, and I'll go right to you. It's a lot more niggas that got to get tired. Because
Yeah.
Turk got to get tired too.
And Bobby.
And Bobby got to get tired. Yeah, because that's where I kind of have him. But I do believe he makes the roster. So
I was fighting off a sneeze right there. I'm gonna give that one a C, C plus actually, because I do like just having a space eater. Like I love having just a big fat, nose tackle to just clog up and make shit messy. Like you said earlier, you're not going through A or B, find somewhere else. Like I love having a big bouncer in the middle of the line to just eat up space and fucking make shit dirty in the trenches. So I'm gonna give it a C plus.
got you. Mitchell.
I'm gonna give Mitchell. I'm gonna give Mitchell. Actually, I'm gonna give the Mitchell pick a B, because I think the tight end room was in need of some help. I know they just signed Tommy Tremble to the contract, to the new contract, and then you still have JT. However, JT is unproven and is still very much a project who got injured, like you mentioned. Tommy, I've never been a big Tommy fan. So for those reasons, I do think it was a position in need. I think at the value that you got him at, I want to give that a B. What did I say? B plus?
You said B.
Yeah, I want to give that a B.
I think I'll go B as well for those exact reasons. I mean, you bring competition into that room. You ask someone who's a pure receiving tight end. Now, I'm not sure what he does in the run blocking game. It could be a lot left to be desired there. But that's what you have Tommy Tremble for if you need be. But I think he's a good red zone threat as well. So I'm going to go B.
For me, I'm going to go A flat. I love this pick. Like you said, this room needed something. I don't know if I necessarily believed we were going to go tight end in the draft, but if we were going to do so, I believe that it would be in this area. And I think that you selected right. I think the Carolina Panthers selected right in this moment. Like I said, so I said what I said about Lathan Ransom, about him having a clean slate and everything like that, and just giving him time to develop. I'm going to give Mitchell Evans the time to develop, but I'm not going to give him the same amount of time that I give Ransom to be productive. Like, because that's my expectations already for this kid. I really, 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 really like this pick. I think it was great value. And like I said, we're talking about challenging the roster, and that's been the motto, the MO for this organization and this regime over the past 2 years. You talk about challenging the roster. You bring Tommy Tremble back, which is cool. My feelings on Tommy Tremble, I believe that he got fucked off. I really, really, really believe that he got fucked off his first 2.5, 3 years with Matt Rule and Frank Reich. Yeah. Because he even came out and said that, like, bro, there were days at practice that niggas weren't even telling me what the fuck to do. Like, I had no idea what I was supposed to be doing. I wasn't really a part of the game plan. So he got his career up to this point has gotten really, really fucked off. And on top of that, I do know for a fact that Canales and his coaching staff had high expectations for Tommy Tremble, because this was a guy that they really, really liked last year, and then he gets stretched. And so now it's just like we're trying to work you back and trying to get you the reps, as well as trying to develop this young guy in Sanders. So I think that Tommy Tremble has just had a bad go at it up to this point, for real, for real. Not to give no excuses for the lack of production, right? But I think that Tommy Tremble could be a lot better than he is currently. I do, and to no fault of his own. That being said, I've been extremely vocal about how I feel about Jatavion Sanders. I think he is a really, really good tight end, but he's primarily a pass-catching tight end. So really, to me, he's just another wide receiver. I think Mitchell Evans' game has a little bit more to it, bro. I really, really do. I love this pick. I'm going to give it an A. And like I said a few minutes ago, I believe that we will see him starting week 11, 12, 13, somewhere in that range. And when this contract is up for Tommy, I think it's going to be, okay, Jatavion, well, you're on the hot seat, my nigga. Because if not, and you can't get it done, then you'll just forever be tight end 2 or 3. Because I think that Mitchell Evans, when he gets his opportunity, he's going to immediately become productive. But that's a conversation that we'll have here in a few minutes. And then, is it Jimmy Horn after that?
Yep.
It's hard to grade 6th and 7th round. For the situation, for the value, I'll give the Jimmy Horn pick. I'll say a B minus. I'll say a B minus for the Jimmy Horn pick. I don't have a long, drawn out dissertation for that one. I don't.
I'm gonna go B plus, just because I'm a Jimmy Horn guy. I think he is a good receiver, and I think if he's able to make the team, I think he'll play a really good role on this team. And I also think that'll be a guy that challenges other guys in the room as well. So I'm gonna give it a B plus because I think he has a lot of value.
Yeah, I'm going to give that a B plus as well. I really like Jimmy Horn like you do. I'm a big Jimmy Horn fan myself. I think he's going to be a really productive slot receiver at some point in his career in the NFL. For those reasons, I almost want to give it an A, but I'm going to give it a B plus.
Same. I was trending towards A, honestly.
Cool. Overall, yes, overall, I think that, and I started the podcast by saying this, and I'll reemphasize it. I think the front office did a phenomenal job. I think they did an outstanding job. Started with day 1, went into day 2, started shaky day 3, closed the day phenomenally. The value that you got in round 2 and 3, outstanding. I think a lot of us believed that the Carolina Panthers were going to hyper-focus defensively. That wasn't their approach. They end up going 4 offense and 4 defense. I think that's great. I think it's tremendous that you get Bryce Young additional help in the room on more levels than just Tetero and McMillan. All of that being said, I'm going to say overall, I'm going to give this draft an A minus. I'm going to give this draft an A minus, and the only reason why it's not an A or A plus is because we didn't walk away with Donovan and we didn't walk away with Mike in round 2 or 3 after they had dropped. And I know that you weren't picking high enough, but I would have expected you, I guess, to be a little bit more aggressive. That's the only reason why it's not an A or A plus is because those were 2 my guys that dropped. We didn't get our hands on them, so that is the only downside. But I love the strategy, and I love the aggression, and I love the way we played it specifically in day 2 with double dipping. So A minus. I mean, I can't really want for much more than what we got this past weekend from the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I think I'll go A minus as well. The more that I think about it, I want to say B plus, but I'll give it an A minus just because I don't think you address the corner needs, even with the free agents that you picked up. I don't know if those guys are going to be, serviceable corners alongside of JC and Mike Jackson. I think you not going to say you miss with the Trevor Etienne pick, but I think like we've been saying that there was more. You could have done something else with that pick based on the needs that you had there. But I think overall, it was a really solid draft. One of the best ones that I think we've been a part of. And I don't know if people were shitting on Dylan when he said this, but when he was like, this could be the best draft in Carolina Panthers history. And I think that is true if these guys live up to the potential that's set for them.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go a little bit higher than y'all. I'm going to give it an A, and the only reason it's not an A plus is because of the Trevor Etienne pick, or Trevor Etienne pick. Thank you. Because I actually really, really liked what the Panthers did in the draft. Now, they didn't address corner, which is something that I've been screaming for almost 2 years now that they did need to touch. However, you have JC. You signed him to that massive contract. You brought back Mike Jack. And what we saw last season, if nothing else from that terrible defense, was that the cornerbacks were good and serviceable. So for those reasons, I do want to give the Panthers an A in their draft this year.
Cool. Now this is a question and kind of an activity that we did on stream day 3 with Duncan Lowe. But I wanted to bring it to you guys just to see kind of how you all felt about specific players. I want you guys to tell me who you believe after training camp, heading into week 1, who you believe will be starters, if any, in this class, and what guys do you think will be productive? Like Shaw Smith-Wade never really, maybe he did start last year, but he was never really viewed as a starter. But you could make an argument that in multiple games he was extremely productive, right? So it doesn't have to be a starter in that on that regard, but just production. So I want to know how many guys and who you have as starters, and then who is going to be productive immediately day one.
I think the two obvious ones for me, you're talking about just out of this draft class, right?
Yeah, just out of this draft class, just out of the 8 picks.
The two obvious ones for me is going to be Ted and then also going to be Nick Scorton, who I think are going to be starters. I think they're going to come in as day one starters. Now, I think that Princely, he's going to be productive. I think, what's his name? Lathan Ransom. I don't know. It's still a lot to be determined there. I think he'll be productive, but I don't think he'll be productive in the way that we need him to be, which I think that's just going to be simply being a ball hawk. I don't know if he's going to be productive in that realm. I also think that Cam Jackson, that's his name, I think he'll be productive as well. I don't know if I'm missing. It's just between starters and production, right? Yeah. So,
Pretty much.
I think the rest of the
because
guys.
there could be guys that just don't even make the list. Like,
Yeah.
for me, Trevor doesn't make the list.
Yeah, I can't give Trevor anything there. I also don't even know about the tight end, if I'll give him productive as of yet. And I think that if we decide to move off Jadeveon or something like that, then I think that Princely, he can find his way into that starting lineup relatively quickly going into, like, further along in the season. But, yeah, I think the rest of the guys will be productive. I think Jimmy Horn will be productive in the special teams room. But, yeah.
Cool.
I mean, was it starters, productive, and
Yeah, starters, and if anybody else that won't be starting is going to be productive.
okay? Yeah, I mean, I think Tet is obviously going to be a starter. I actually think Princely is going to be the starter in the edge room, and I think Nick is going to be productive. I think Etienne, as much as we shit on him, I do think he will be productive eventually.
No. We haven't shit on him. We shit on the organization for taking him when they did.
You're right.
Shout out Trevor.
I think
I'm going to be purchasing a jersey.
I won't be doing that, but
fanned out. But I think Trevor will end up being productive. I also think Evans and Jimmy will be productive. My questions are around Lathan and Cam. Those are my two question marks from the draft class.
Fair enough. I think that I had 3 people on this list. I think I said, obviously, Nalo starting, and I was not sure which one of the 2 would be starting with
Princely and Nick.
Princely, yeah. I think I'm going to give the edge to Nick. But we're moving off of this like just under the assumption that they just automatically beat DJ Wanham out. So that in itself is very high expectations in my opinion, just because Wanham is a veteran. Wanham was productive in that 6 or 7 game stretch that he had. But I think Nick ends up doing it. I think that Princely is going to be extremely productive. I do. I think that he'll be extremely productive in certain spots because his issue is that he doesn't play the run very well. He's more of a pure edge rusher, pure pass rusher rather. But I think he will be extremely productive. Trevor, I have nothing on him. Lathan, I have nothing on him because I don't believe that he's going to be productive. Just because I think that there will be a lack of reps for him on the field unless somebody goes down.
well, who you have starting over him as of right now? Damani?
Damani. Yes, 1,000% Damani. Absolutely. With the way the room is constructed right now, Damani and Trayvon should be the starters in my opinion. 1,000%. Cam, I have nothing on him because I think it's going to be very, very hard for him to find reps. I do. I don't know how many players they take per position, specifically on defense, but we just talked about it probably about 25 minutes ago. Ashawn, DB, Bobby, Turk is going to be hard for you to find.
Yeah, that room is a little crowded.
And Shy Tuttle.
Yeah.
Shy Tuttle.
Well, I got to take Cam out of mine.
Yeah.
He
might not even make the team.
Yeah,
he might not even make the team.
And do
honestly.
they still have Bro? that we drafted.
Brian Ray?
No, that we got last year.
Jaden Crumity.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a name that I didn't hear the whole weekend, actually.
So he's probably clipped.
That's a good question. Because, he dealt with a lot of injuries last year. It's going to be hard for Cam Jackson to even get reps and opportunities to be productive. So I'm just not going there yet with him. And then Mitchell, I mean, the only reason why I'm not going to say immediate starter is because I think this coaching staff loves Tommy Tremble, and I think they're going to give, as they should, I think they're going to give Jatavion Sanders a little more time and opportunities to develop before they switch their focus and attention on Mitchell Evans. But I think that Mitchell Evans is going to be extremely productive. I do. And my prediction is weeks 11 through 13 for him to be starting and take over that job in totality. But should that not happen, at the very least, he's going to be extremely productive. And whatever you set that bar at for a tight end that's not Brock Bowers, that's what I mean. That's what I mean production-wise from a tight end. And then Jimmy Horn is another guy that I just don't know. I just don't know because the room is extremely crowded. He is a smaller guy. I don't know how much special teams value he adds. And then, if we look at it, okay, you're talking about having to potentially beat out Trevor. If you're on the bubble and don't make enough impact in the wide receiver room throughout training camp, you're talking about potentially having to beat out Trevor or Blackshear, for that returner job. And I just don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. So that's my 2 cents on it all. Let's see. Let's have the conversation about Jadeveon. Let's just have the conversation about the people that we believe are on the hot seat. And it's very, very early. Again, a lot of the topics that we've discussed today, a lot of the comments and things that we're making right now, they're extremely premature. Again, so I mean, we know how fluid these things are. But that being said, there is a conversation that has to be had. The first name that I'm going to say and throw out there to be on the hot seat is DJ Johnson. Because we're going into year 3, nigga, and unfortunately you haven't been productive, and we just went and got 2 new toys. And I say toys just because, I mean no harm nor disrespect when I say that. But we just got two new players that we believe are going to be extremely, extremely productive, a lot more productive than you. And if I have to look at the room the way it is set right now, Jadeveon, DJ, Pat, Nick, Princely, you unfortunately may be the odd man out. Same thing for Amari Barno. And if you're familiar with the show and are a returning listener and or viewer, you know how much I've championed for Amari Barno and at times have gone toe-to-toe with my co-host right here behind the nigga. But it's just extremely unfortunate circumstances because, you get hurt 2 years in a row in the NFL as a young player that was never extremely, extremely productive. Your time as a Carolina Panther will unfortunately be coming to an end. Who else? It may be trouble in paradise for Blackshear too.
Yeah, that's what I was initially thinking when I was mentioning Trevor Etienne as a return guy. I don't even know how solidified Raheem Blackshear's spot is at this point.
I don't, because they let him walk. I'm pretty sure they let Blackshear walk, and then he came back like a week and a half, 2 weeks later. But they let that nigga go out the door. And y'all know how I feel about him as well. And that was more so over the season after he was with Wilkes. So what was that, 3 years ago when he was with Wilkes? So after that season, I was extremely high on him. In the past year and a half, 2 years, he just hasn't done enough. He hasn't been productive enough. So Blackshear, be on high alert. Xavier Legette, your job obviously is nowhere near being in question, but I'm just telling you to be on high alert because niggas think, I guess they think that you're soft, bro. I guess they think that you're soft and that you're pussy. That's their words and their actions, not mine. I don't feel that way by any stretch of the imagination. I think you're a dog and a demon, and I've been calling for the next step because niggas think that you soft and that you pussy. And the fan base, the front office said it by going to get Tet at 8. So don't blame me. I'm just telling you the way that I feel as though they feel about you. I think that there may be a person or two on this cast that may feel that way outside of myself. Not to mention any names in particular.
I just think you need to catch the ball. That's it. I think that you need to catch the ball somehow, some way, somehow. You need to get those injuries under control. Now, I know shit happens, but, that starts with training, eating right, doing your workouts, doing your preventative training and stuff like that. Just making sure you're going all in and going to the full extent to protect your body and to be healthy going into the season.
Yeah.
Because, unfortunately, it's not gonna be too many times I'm gonna keep letting you get that wrist injury excuse off that you like to give him up here. It's not
an excuse, it's a fact.
Yeah, but he catches with his chest. So I don't even know how much a fucked off wrist plays into that when that's like your natural catching motion is to catch it with your chest instead of your hands. So I don't know if I can continue to let you shoot him bail with that injury. So yeah, you need to do better. You have to be better.
Okay. Let's put a pause in the conversation that we were currently having. What are your expectations for Xavier Leggett? Give me a number. Give me fucking numbers. And I know, again, premature, very early.
We could have this conversation another week. That'd be a great topic for another day.
We'll save it. You're right.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at about 850. I'm looking at about 850 to 7, 8, 9, even 10 touchdowns.
How much?
Because I think that niggas think that he's like I just told him.
How much
Xavier,
are we putting
like
on
I
that?
said, XL, right? You hear? He's saying, how much are we put? Because they think that you're pussy and they think that you're soft.
No.
I'm just trying to tell you something that I know. And it's not just them two.
I just think that's free money because I don't think you're going to get it. XL, the producer, Tavian, do not think that you will eclipse 850 yards and 10 touchdowns this season.
I will take
10
that
is
bet.
high.
I would take that bet as well.
I think Tet will
10 is
because
high.
I think Tet is better than you.
I think Nalo is going to end up with 1,000 yards.
I think that's very plausible.
I mean, there's not really much niggas can tell me right now because I'm on cloud 9 about it.
Yeah.
I'm on cloud 9 about it. I think that he's going to go for over a band.
And I feel like the only reason XL would have a semi-productive year is because he's opposite of Tet.
Okay. But, I mean, at the same time, we've seen a lot of niggas be opposite of a lot of demons and not be productive. So, you have to be you have to take a significant
I won't knock
step.
XL. For one thing that I will never knock XL on for what he did last season was the motherfucker got open.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got open.
Yeah, so he already has step 1 done.
What did you, $1 million move, 10-cent finish.
Okay, don't worry.
It was fucking phenomenal.
Don't worry.
Way to get out of your break and, beat niggas off the line, whatever the fuck.
Just another way for niggas to blame Bryce. And that's why I don't fuck with him like that. Because then it starts falling back on the quarterback that, needs to – because you said this a few times. The ball wasn't good. Needs to be a better ball. And then you go back and look at the film like, oh, yeah, he should have called it. So shit like that, you're just giving another reason for the fan base to shit on the quarterback.
I'm done shitting on Bryce.
I just don't rock with that. So I just think that you just have to be better.
I'm going to go ahead and make a proclamation since his name got brought up. I thought that we were going to make it all the way through. Well, actually, I think I brought his name up probably about 45 minutes ago. But I'm going to go ahead and make a proclamation. My days of shitting on Bryce are officially over. I'm retired. Whatever happens, happens at this point. That being said, this is going to be the last thing that I say.
I already know. What's going on.
Yeah, you already know.
My brother texted me the same thing.
Oh, and me and your brother are on the same accord. That being said, you have... you nigga, oh God, you have no more excuses. You have there's nothing to be said. With the momentum that you had at the end of last year, with the receiving core that you did, no true wide receiver one according to this fan base and this front office. So cool. At this point, you have no more fucking excuses. None. You have 2 1,000-yard rushers to pair behind you. You have a top 10 to 15 offensive line. You have a true wide receiver one in Tedero McMillan. We gave you extreme depth in the tight end room.
We hope.
Not we hope, nigga. I'm telling you
hope.
something that I
'Cause
know,
he
nigga.
hasn't suited up yet, bro.
I'm telling you
'Cause
something
that's
that I
exactly
know,
what I was
nigga.
about to say.
I'm telling you something
Unless
that I know, nigga.
because all this goes out the window if Tetaroa comes out and just
No,
proves
it
to be a
doesn't.
fuck off.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. If Tetaroa comes out and proves to be a fuck off, then you still have a true wide receiver one. Because I'm telling you that I'm trying to tell y'all niggas something that I know, bro. Y'all niggas are trying to take me to a place that I wasn't trying to go on this pod.
But
y'all
you
trying
don't-
to get
you
me
don't-
hot.
you don't
And
know
I feel
that.
it. I feel it. I
You don't,
feel it
you don't
building
know
up.
that. You don't know
I
that
feel
though,
it building
because
up.
what do I always
You
say?
getting hot, bro?
I
You
feel
warm?
it. I feel it.
What do I always say? You got to update your resume. So based on what he last put on the field, I don't know if you can say that XL can be a wide receiver one at this point. Like obviously he would have to be that if that's all you got. But that doesn't make you necessarily a true wide receiver one if you're only a wide receiver one by default.
You have Thielen as well.
And Coker.
And Coker, right? So fair. XL, like I said, niggas think that out here, there's niggas out here in this fan base and specifically on this cast that think you're pussy. That's the only thing that I want you to continue to hear in your head is me being this fat ass nigga sitting in the corner of a couch telling you that you have a multitude of niggas in this fan base that think that you're a fucking mark ass bitch. That's the only thing. And that's what I'm just want to say. Because if Tetaroa doesn't pan out, I'm 100% confident that XL takes that next step and becomes a wide receiver one. I think this situation, and this is going to be an extremely hot take, and I'm sure if this doesn't play out, I mean, I won't hear the end of it. Do I believe, and it's going to sound, this is going to sound nasty and disgusting. This is going to sound nasty and disgusting. It's going to sound grotesque, actually. But if XL does what I believe, if he takes a step that I believe he's going to take this year, we're thinking like Cincinnati-esque wide receiver core.
All right.
We're thinking.
All right.
Well, I'm just telling y'all.
Nigga,
I'm just
slow down. Slow down, nigga.
I'm just
slow
telling
down,
you.
bro.
I'm just telling you something that I know and that I believe. I'm just telling you.
Wait, let's just so
I'm just telling
because
you.
you saying that would mean that you're saying that you believe that Tet is of the same caliber as Jamar Chase. Because I know XL isn't the one that you're comparing to Jamar Chase, so that it would have to be Tet.
He's damn sure T. Higgins.
So it would have to be Tet, right? So Tet is of the same cloth that Jamar Chase is.
I'm not ready to say that.
I'm not either.
I'm just telling you something that I believe and that I know.
I think.
Can you do another room
Is
besides
Nalo?
Cincinnati?
So do you believe Nalo is a bitch too?
No. I just
Okay.
haven't seen him play a down in the NFL yet. And so for me to compare that room or compare them to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is just preposterous.
Well, I'm
Right
only
now.
talking those two. And I think that if XL takes the step that I believe he's going to take, I'm 100% confident in the impact that Nalo will have immediately. And so we're having conversations about 2 1,000-yard receivers.
Yeah, but Jamar Chase is just more than just an 1,000-yard receiver.
Okay. Well,
And he win a Triple Crown?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Nothing in my body, my heart, my mind, my soul tells me that Tetaroa can't do the same fucking thing. Nothing.
I just think it's too early.
Did you pray today?
I went to church today. So, yeah. I'm just telling niggas. I'm just trying to tell niggas something that I know.
You don't know.
Well, no, I don't know. No, you're right.
You're
It's something
telling us
that I
something that you
feel.
hope.
No, something that I feel. It's a feeling. It's not a hope. It's a feeling that I have in my body. It's a feeling that I have in my body, the next level.
But you get like this, though. When this time of season, you get
It's
like
because
this.
he was
I
up
don't
late
think so.
last night watching videos on
I don't
all the
think so.
prospects.
I don't think so.
He
Uh,
hyped himself up a
I
little
don't think
bit.
so.
At some point, you got to realize that this is a recurring theme for you. At some point.
Maybe. What other room? I just don't know what other room to compare them to because I think they'll be
Compare
better
him to
than
Philly.
Tampa Bay.
Compare him to Philly at this
Yeah,
point.
like maybe Philly.
No.
Tampa Bay.
I think they'll be way better.
I
than
honestly
Philly.
think Tampa Bay would be the perfect comparison. A healthy Tampa Bay receiving room.
Yeah, but I already don't like the amount of times that I've heard Nalo's name mentioned with Mike Evans.
I mean,
So we got to go slow on that shit anyway.
Based on what? You just put him in a conversation with Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase ain't Mike Evans.
Yeah, he's better.
We'll see.
I mean,
We're going, what is this, year 4? Year 5 for Jamar? Let's go slow, nigga.
Yeah, you're talking
Mike
about
been-
nigga. Let's go.
so we have to go
look at
slow
it
with
from
that.
the
Mike been doing this shit since before your nuts drop, nigga. Go slow, nigga.
So we have
Go
to go slow with that, but
Yeah.
we can speed it up with the
Yeah.
comparison between Ted
Yes.
and Jamar
Yeah,
Chase.
that
That's
doesn't
Yeah,
even make
absolutely.
sense.
Absolutely.
That doesn't even make
That's
sense.
ass backwards.
Absolutely. Yeah, we
Jamar
can.
Chase, even
Absolutely.
if you like, even if you were to say
I
Mike
almost
Evans
wanna
is
do
better,
something right now. Oh my
even if you were to
God.
say Mike Evans was better than Jamar Chase, which he's not, Jamar Chase would be
He's had a better career.
much closer to Mike Evans than Teteroa is to Jamar Chase right now. Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
yeah, right now, cool. Yeah, sure. Right now, cool. Y'all continue to get this shit off right now. Yeah, absolutely.
It's sad, bro. It's sad that
I
you're
mean,
doing this.
let him at least put the
Because
compressions on.
this is what happens when
Like,
people
damn.
put so many expectations on these guys. He hasn't even stepped on the field yet. Just calm down. Calm down.
He's gonna go for a ban.
I already have my questions about him just because I saw him put that lay around David Tepper's neck. That kind of pissed me off. I just don't like him.
Now that's some hating shit.
Yeah, yeah, I was about to say, like, are you kidding? And you just gave them an A+ for drafting, nigga.
No, it was no. I
Cool.
just don't like Dave Tepper. It was more of a shot at Dave Tepper than it was that.
Uh,
It's just
yeah,
why come to the city and that's the. Well, I mean, he's the owner, but
Yeah,
I just
because
that's
I
just
own
not
you now,
the.
boy. I own you now, boy.
I'm
So-
still not putting my lay around the bitch ass nigga's neck.
Touche. Jadeveon Clowney. Let's speed this up. Where are we at?
We not had that conversation.
Not particularly, because I didn't get y'all's opinion on if y'all would make that deal and what we should do with it, nigga.
I mean,
We just brought it up. It was rumored that pre-draft, the Carolina Panthers were shopping Jadeveon Clowney's name in trade talks. Obviously, a deal wasn't able to be done because he's still a Carolina Panther. Then they asked him the question about. They asked Dan Morgan a question about Jadeveon Clowney and what his future in that room looks like, and we don't get a certain answer. We get we're still evaluating the room and the roster.
well,
Is he on the hot seat?
yes, he's on the hot seat. He's 32 years old. He's been bounced around the league, and honestly, he was solid in Baltimore, but he had a lot of guys around him that could produce. And yeah, he's aging. He only had 5.5 sacks. There were a lot of times that we seen him in a position to sack the quarterback, and he whiffed. As a veteran, that's just not something that you should be accustomed to. So I wouldn't hate the front office if they were like, we feel very good about what we did in the draft. We view these guys very highly, and we're okay with letting you walk. Give us a little bit of money. Maybe go get another player, a safety, something along those lines, a cornerback, and then just roll with our young guys.
Yeah.
Now there might be a few hiccups every now and again, just at the beginning of the season. But I mean, you still have guys who have experience, like Derek Brown, like Turk, like Ashawn, like Bobby Brown, that you're not going to be completely assed out. But then but now you got two young edge rushers. You still have DJ Wanham. So, I mean, if you're telling me you're going to let him walk, okay, I'm cool.
Facts.
I won't lose sleep.
Yeah, I mean, you tell me that you cut him before June 1st, and you tell me that we're going to save $7.8 million towards the cap. Yep, no problem. And I think that I champion for, specifically between me and you, I champion for Jadeveon. At some point or another, it was becoming a little too much, but you was on his ass a lot last season, specifically at the beginning part of the year.
Because it was bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I'm not mad at that at all.
I also remember you taking the stance that he just didn't have other guys around him who could kind of, help
Lighten
him.
the load on him as an older guy.
Yes, and I think that he will have those guys around him going into the season. But I'm like, if you need these other guys around you to lighten that load, okay, that's fine, that's cool. Why not let me get someone out there that's younger, faster, to do the same thing?
Good point.
Let them take their licks early.
Yeah,
They'll be better off for it, I think.
it's a good point. I mean, like I said, I think that the play is right now, especially with you drafting Lathan Ransom, he's not a starter. I think the play is right now you cut Jadeveon Clowney, and that's no knock on him as a player. But let's talk about the growth and the future of this franchise. You cut Jadeveon Clowney, and you go get Julian Blackman on a 3 or 4 year deal, and you go get money. You go get money. Yeah, I think that this is almost too easy. I think this is almost too easy for the Carolina Panthers for real, especially if you can get a deal agreed upon prior to you cutting Jadeveon. If you can get a deal agreed to by Julian Blackman before you cut Jadeveon, it's too easy. Because if we get a deal in place and we need that additional $8 million, Jadeveon, thank you for your services. We love the leadership that you displayed in the locker room last year. We love the fight that you had in you. You'll get a high recommendation from us if any team comes calling. Thank you so much for your services. Bart is going to help you out. Simple. So, yeah, that's that on that. Let's see. I think we can go to Juice. And we closed off Fan Blitz for this week because we figured that it was going to be this was going to be a little lengthy. So we're not going to do Fan Blitz this week, but the upcoming weeks we're going to definitely need you guys to send some questions in and just to open up that discourse a little bit more on the back part of our podcast. But this week we're not going to do it. And we'll just go straight to Juice. So let's get everything pulled up on this front. Okay, cool.
Can lead us off.
Okay. Oh, shit. All right, now.
Very, very simple ticket this week for those of y'all that don't know. This is the segment of the show called Is the Juice Worth the Squeeze, or Juice, as you hear us refer to it. Oftentimes where we put in a ticket for y'all that we think is going to hit for the week. You can choose to tail it or not. At the end of the year, we do a competition with the cast. Winner, whoever hits the most juice tickets gets an additional pot. So we're betting on top of betting. That's just what we like to do around here. Do we have a problem?
Like fiends, yeah.
It's very possible. Do we care? Absolutely
really.
The fuck not.
Yeah.
My ticket this week, it's for Tuesday. It is for Tuesday. It's a slight NBA ticket, plus 475. I am taking the Denver Nuggets money line. I am taking the New York Knicks money line, and I am taking James Harden to record a double-double. Plus 475, very, very doable. The Nuggets are at home, and the Knicks are also at home. So I'm taking both the home teams in the playoff matchups, and I'm taking James Harden to record a double-double. I mean, he almost averages a double-double, so I feel like it's very doable.
I can go next.
Sure.
All right, plus 504. I got the New York Knicks money line. I'm going opposite of Tavian. I'm taking the Clippers money line. They have to win this game. I'm taking the Houston Rockets to plus 3.5 against Golden State. They have to win this game as well. And then I'm taking the Cavs money line against Miami, plus 504. Very simple.
Very demure. Plus 5 or shit, I might got a little too much. Plus 643. Knicks money line. Over 200.5 points. Knicks versus Pistons. I have the Clippers at minus 1.5. Harden, 20 points. And this is the nastiest part of the whole ticket. Chris Dunn to score 5 or more. Very simple, very strategic, very well thought out, very demure. On to our content manager, Dylan. Let's see. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of soccer shit up here. And as I predicted, I was right. Tuesday, Arsenal faces off against PSG. He has Arsenal winning that game. Napoli, I guess. Saturday, he has Napoli money line. Charlotte FC to cover plus 1.5 against Columbus Crew. That game is happening on Saturday as well. And then he has Miami plus half a goal. And that is a plus 5:04 at the moment we're recording. So, not bad. Not bad. At some point or another, I'm going to tail a Dylan ticket because he actually really be on that soccer shit. So, at
Why
some
he
point
ain't
or
hit a
another,
juice ticket lately?
I don't know because I think he did the draft last week. But or maybe maybe
He's cold.
he's just not good enough to defend his crown. But what do I know? What do I know? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Let me send this in here. Are you guys going to be on the? Would you guys like to join the 9 to 11 win train yet with me? Because I'm the conductor of that one, just like I was the conductor of almost burying Bryce Young. But now
The
on
what
to more
train?
positive. 9 to 11 wins.
No.
Yeah, I'm not there yet either.
All right.
Especially after what you just said, talking about you were the conductor of the Bryce Young train, and that bitch fell off the tracks and blew up. So
I swear to God, it did.
I don't know if I want to hop on a train that you're conducting.
Can you pull up that list that you got with the Saints, Falcons, and Bucks?
Yeah, I got it up.
Perfect.
You
And
want
I
their
almost forgot
grades?
about that. Yeah, because and where is this from?
This is according to Yahoo Sports. These are post-draft grades for the entire NFC South. Spoiler alert, the Panthers did receive the highest grade. But they gave the New Orleans Saints a B-. The New Orleans Saints drafted Kelvin Banks, Tyler Shuck, Vernon Broughton, Jonas Sanker, excuse me.
Jonas Sanker, yeah.
Danny Stutzman, Quincy Riley, Devin Neal, Molokai Mataveo, and Fadil Diggs. What a name.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
So they went
Okay,
quarterback.
not bad.
Yeah.
Well, actually, mediocre.
the
but
the one that we all know that they messed up on was
Yeah.
that Tyler Shuck. Tyler Shuck is like 50 fucking years old playing quarterback. He played with Justin Herbert,
He sucks too.
and he's not good.
And he's ass, yeah.
Yeah, he's not good.
At 50 years old, playing against children. But
They picked him in the second round. Over Shador because they didn't like the way Shador conducted himself.
Oh, I can't wait for my 2 minutes.
Woo! That was I don't think I've ever witnessed anything nastier than what happened to him this weekend. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers were given a B. They drafted Jonah Walker. Wrong one. They drafted Emeka Ibuka,
great pickup.
Benjamin Morrison, cornerback Notre Dame, Jacob Parrish, cornerback Kansas State, David Walker, D-line Central Arkansas, Elijah Roberts, D-line SMU, and Tez Johnson, a favorite on this podcast.
Oh, my God.
Wide receiver Oregon.
Oh, my God.
They were given a B. The Atlanta Falcons were given a C- for drafting Jalen Walker, linebacker Georgia, James Pierce, edge Tennessee, Xavier Watts, safety Notre Dame, Billy Bowman Jr., safety Oklahoma, and Jack Nelson, offensive tackle Wisconsin. I believe they probably got a lower grade because they only had a couple of picks.
Yeah, I don't hate
their
their
draft.
draft.
I think their draft is better than the Bucks.
Yeah.
But,
And the Saints, in my opinion.
So that
there's no way they should have got graded lower than either one of those.
Yeah, that was
This
very
list is a
interesting.
little off,
And the Carolina Panthers were given an A.
which that tracks over pretty much every platform that I've seen.
Besides Mel Kiper.
He's a bitch.
Which is very interesting. Mel Kiper gave y'all a D.
What was it?
Yeah, it
Officially?
was something like that. D.
Do we have his? Let's see.
That was what I was told from a third party.
Let's here we go. Mel Kiper draft grades 2025. Okay, cool. Yeah, here we go. He gave the Browns an A+. So we'll just start there. But
Because
they drafted Shador. He loves Shador.
let's see.
I feel like they only drafted Shador, truthfully, one, to stop Pittsburgh from getting him. Like realistically, I feel like that was a
Possible.
defensive pick.
He gave us a C+. He gave us a C+.
Are we?
I mean,
Yeah.
I think that hints at signs of mental instability, to say the least. But what do I know? Let's see what he did for Atlanta. Atlanta got a C. So we got a C plus. Atlanta got a C, which it seems like a lot of people aren't too fond of Atlanta's draft. And I thought that they actually drafted relatively well. But what do I know? New England got an A minus, which they should have. I want to know what Dallas got, because Dallas drafted very fucking well. Dallas got a B. Wow. And then let's go see what Tampa Bay got, because I damn near don't even want to know what he said about New Orleans. Actually, I do, because if that nigga has them rated higher than us, then I'm gonna know some shit. Oh my God. He gave Tampa Bay a B. Cool. So he's just a hating ass bitch. Got it. So Mel Kiper is on my shit list for the rest of my life. Understood. And who else did I say?
New Orleans.
Oh yeah. He gave New Orleans a B minus.
Yeah, he's just a fucking idiot.
Yeah, so you know, then we hear conversations about ESPN and them being this powerhouse, and then I have to read articles like that, and it's just so unserious that it just challenges the validity of everything that they have fucking going on to me. But you know, we're just a little small YouTube channel, so what did we know?
Yeah, nothing apparently.
Yeah, but that is just absolutely atrocious. Honestly, it's just disgusting.
Yeah, I don't know how we ended up with a B, but
I don't know how y'all ended up with a
that's
B.
very
either.
fucking disgusting.
Y'all end up with a B and we end up with a C plus, and I think that between us, y'all,
New England.
like I think those were the best drafts. But again, what do I know? What do we know? Obviously not shit. Seems like you two are eager for this portion of the show.
Who wants to go first?
You can go first
You
because
go
I feel like
first.
me.
Him.
Oh,
Yeah, I got a lot of shit to get off my chest.
oh, let me get your.
I might go a couple seconds over the 2 minutes, but I'll try to keep it light.
Acceptable because I think I might go a little bit over.
Nope, it's no problem. Everybody can go over this week.
All right, so do we even need to time it then? Probably.
Oh
Just,
yeah,
we'll
we
just-
should just
I'll restart it.
to keep
Yeah.
it,
Are you ready?
Yeah.
keep it thoughtful.
So I'm sure everybody's seen the draft and, you know, the Shador Sanders controversy. Have a lot to say on that. One, I think it was a NFL power move. I think it was something to where what was being said about Shador wasn't really related to, like, his film and his play on the field. It was more so of, like, NFL owners being emotional bitches. And I think they kind of got together and was like, oh, this guy him and his family think that they're above the NFL. They think that, you know, they can decide where he wants to play. So we're going to do this. We're going to draft all of these mediocre quarterbacks above him, make them sit and wait, and then we'll draft them when we get ready, last second possible. So I think it was complete bullshit on the NFL by doing that, but it doesn't surprise me. At the end of the day, it's a business. They're an association. So I'm sure they have conversations like this all the time, whether it relates to drafts, whether it relates to compensation and things of that sort. But now what I will say, this should also be a valuable lesson that you are never bigger than the program. No matter who your dad is, no matter what kind of status you have, there's always a way that someone can get one over on you. There's always someone above you. And so I think that Deion Sanders and Shador also played a part in why he was drafted in the 5th round, because you don't come out and say, I'm only playing for this amount of teams. We don't like cold weather. We prefer warmer climate, maybe in a dome. Like, you can't come out and say that when, especially, you're not the best quarterback prospect in the draft. So I think that fucked them over a little bit, and I think that falls on Deion. Like, unfortunately, Shador isn't Deion Sanders. He hasn't done he hasn't had that kind of impact on the league that Deion has had. Obviously, he hasn't played a snap, but, you know, that's not something that you can come out and say. So I think that fucked them over pretty badly. Another thing that I want to say, Jeff Aldridge, that's his name?
I guess.
Yeah, his son.
Oh, from Atlanta.
Yeah,
the
and
coordinator.
Atlanta just issued a statement. Apparently, his son, when he was going to visit his dad and his family, got a hold of the iPad, seen Shador's number on there, and decided to prank call him. That's very fucking nasty, very disgusting. And he issued this whack-ass apology and statement saying he shouldn't have did it. He shouldn't have took that moment from Shador. I don't know what kind of penalty can be had for that, but something needs to happen. It not even just because it's Shador. If it's anybody, like, that's completely inexcusable, complete bullshit. And that just really, really, really pissed me the fuck off, honestly. And then for them to come out and release a statement like that takes care of everything. No, it's still bullshit. You still robbed him of that moment, and now the video is floating around of him thinking he's getting a call from an actual NFL team because they only had his numbers, just for it to be some lame-ass, bitch-ass kid on the other end of the phone.
And it's exceptionally disgusting, too, because you think, like, Dion played for the Falcons. He put his body on the line for that organization. And that's just a disrespect to him as well.
Yeah, it's a slap in the face.
Yeah, totally agree. I totally agree. It's on
That
you.
was a good 2 minutes.
Yeah. That was a good ISO.
Yeah.
Because I knew that was eating him up. He was just damn near dying to talk about it.
I want to say some other shit, but I'm gonna table it.
Fair enough. So I want to actually take this moment for as much as I shit on my team, the Cowboys. I think they've had a stellar offseason, in my opinion. And as down as I always like to get on them, I want to praise them in this moment because I wasn't just much like the draft, man. I wasn't super hype initially. But as I got to know a little bit more and they showed me a little bit more, I truly do believe that there's actually a genuine culture shift going on within the organization right now. And it's very exciting to see, just listening to the various coaches speak. Clayton Adams, the new offensive coordinator, Aaron Whitecotton, the new defensive line coach, Brian Schottenheimer, every time he spoke this offseason, there's a big emphasis on getting football guys in the door, like football players who actually genuinely love football, and not just love football, but they love to be a part of a team and want to be something bigger, want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And I think it's finally a shift from this me attitude that has plagued the Dallas Cowboys for my entire life, really, is what it seems like. You've gotten rid of negative personalities off the team. You're bringing in guys who have what they call blue character, or blue character is like the highest rated personality trait that you can give somebody when you're doing the draft process. You're bringing in a bunch of leaders, and every time I hear these coaches speak, all they ever do is praise the organization in the sense of like the staff that they have put together, and talk about how hard everybody is working, how in lockstep everybody is, and the decisions have been this offseason. And it seems like for the first time in my lifetime, I'm witnessing a Dallas Cowboys front office and team that is working in unison instead of having different factions all eating at each other and trying to compete against one another. And it's actually it's very exciting for me. And as y'all know, like the Donovan Ezeraku draft pick was a home run hit. I absolutely love that. And I just want to praise them for a second, man, because I'm excited for what they're doing, and I really like the things that are coming out of Dallas, and I think that they're in store for a special year. So I'm excited.
Fair enough. You can start it up because I don't even think that I need a full 2 minutes. I just want to take this moment to address the Carolina Panthers organization as a whole. The fact that you guys think that we're dumbasses and idiots really, really pisses me off from time to time. During the weekend of celebration, the mood was dampered 2 or 3 days before because the Carolina Panthers decided that all of a sudden construction was going to restrict fans from being able to attend training camp for the next, not only 2025, but 2026. Absolutely nasty and disgusting work from the organization because there are a couple of solutions. Go back to Wofford, go up the road to UNC Charlotte, but I understand and know that Dave Tepper's ego won't allow him to do that. because one is Jerry Richardson's old school, and one has Jerry Richardson's name on the stadium. So because we have, an ego fucking problem that we've been having for the past 5 or 6 years, and because for whatever reason we want to keep shit a secret, and I will take this time to apologize to the fan base, because though my co-host and producer will say this is egotistical of me, I believe that FPFO did contribute to this being the case, because one of the rules, quote unquote, for training camp last year was no recording. What the fuck we're hiding, I couldn't tell you for the life of me, because literally no other teams have this rule in place. You literally see videos coming out day in and day out during training camp from every fucking NFL team and organization in the America, in the fucking country. So it's just baffling to me. It's nasty. And for you guys just to think that we're just jackasses, so you do it and announce it a day before the draft is scheduled to go off, because you know that the news will kind of get pushed under the rug as soon as the draft starts. It's disgusting and nasty work, and it just shows me that it may not be the front office and it may not be the players and coaches that don't necessarily care about the fans and the people that invest money and invest time, hours and hours and hours and thousands of dollars. It's not them. It's the front office. It's ownership rather. It's ownership. It's the CEO. It's Nicole. It's all of the people that make these decisions and can just go up to their fucking high rises and lock themselves in the office and not really have to stand on fucking business. It's pussy shit. It's really, really nasty work. And, when you have content creators like ourselves, like PMP, like Blue, I think it was Black and Blue Network, like Unnecessary, the list goes on and on, right? Like Panthers on Tap. Guys that, really, really legitimately make money during this time, talking about the Carolina Panthers and getting fans hyped up to see the team that upcoming season, and just giving full coverage and, complete honesty on the situation. The way that you go and repay those people is by saying you guys are not allowed to attend training camp for 2 straight years after having one of the best, or before having one of the best drafts, and where honestly fan morale is probably at its highest that it's been in the last 3, 4, maybe even 5 years. So absolutely disgusting, nasty fucking work. I think that is piss poor management. I think it was intentional that they released the news when they did. And to me, it's bitch shit. I mean, there's no other way for me to say it. When I go on different platforms, I do my best not to manipulate my word or to use profanity. Oh, I went double.
You said you wasn't going to take a whole 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But that shit just pisses me off. And I'll just end it there.
Yeah, especially annoying when you have a draft of this caliber and you're not going to be able to see
1,000%.
them in person in the off season. But didn't you have some kind of story to tell us about the 2 Chainz concert, or that was something that you was going to say?
Oh my God. Oh my God. I do have a story to tell you about the 2 Chainz concert. So let me pull up the outro music. Let me pull up the outro music. I don't even know what. I wish you would have reminded me during the intro, but yeah, boy, do I have a story to tell. So we have connections to that camp. I'll just say it that way. We have connections to the camp. And when I say we, like I'm referring to not people on this podcast, but just people that are in our network, or whatever the case may be. So we pull up. Well, first and foremost, Rod and Carter come down. I thought Rod was in LA. Turns out
I saw him yesterday
where was he?
at Drive Shack.
Oh, for real?
Rod?
Yeah.
Okay. I won't even ask you to expound, but cool. That's what's
I
up.
was just walking down the stairs, and he was walking up, and I was like, the fuck? What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. And did he hit you up?
Nope.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I got pressed for that this afternoon for some reason. But anyways, that's nevertheless, nevertheless, so, you know, they come down, we pregame a little bit, we take care of some shit. You know, we're getting shit in motion. And we pull up, I would say probably like a minute or two after we're supposed to. So our actual direct connection goes on stage. Mind you, we come through the back. Like, we pull up, like, in the artist shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so our connection, our direct connection, is already on stage, right? But there's another party that Rod is familiar with and has had multiple conversations with that, you know what I'm saying? So we're backstage, like, and the security is like, bro, we just need somebody to come get y'all, like, say that y'all are good. We stay out there for like 10 or 15 minutes. The nigga sees Rod, the one that he knows. I don't know him. The one that Rod knows sees Rod on some like weirdo shit. Like, it's like, hold on. We stay out there for 10 or 15 minutes. Nigga never comes back. We don't need him in the show. Yeah. I can't even tell you.
Can I play devil's advocate?
If we would have got there on time, then
Yes.
it would have been avoided. Yeah, I'm aware. But it was like they had they literally just touched down in the town, and so we playing it by ear. And you know where I stay in relation to downtown. It was just like, nigga, it's gonna take us 5-10 minutes down to get there, no problem. Didn't happen that way.
Yeah, it makes it even worse that bro seen y'all.
Oh yeah, oh no, like 1 trillion% seen us and dubbed us. And we out
questions.
there, we out there like, nigga, like no cap, like we out there looking nuts.
I have
Like,
questions.
goofy.
People see y'all,
Oh yes. Oh no, like it's like 1,000% like seen.
so it's just embarrassment.
Yes, it's an ego thing. It's an ego thing. Absolutely.
This
Absolutely.
was in Greenville?
Yeah. And that makes it even worse.
In your city.
Right. So now I'm a bitch in my city.
2-5 shit, 2-5
Yeah,
shit.
so now how am I supposed to have that conversation when it comes up? You know what I'm saying?
Maybe the nigga just
Are
forgot.
y'all gonna have a
He
conversation?
forgot what?
Y'all at
I've
the
never
door.
spoken to the nigga.
Maybe he was just busy and forgot y'all. Maybe something came up and he
Maybe
got called on.
Maybe. But I'm just telling you, in that moment, I looked like a fucking pussy. We looked like mark-ass bitches that was trying to fucking finesse our way into some shit, and that was not by any stretch of the imagination the case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
had me steaming.
show up on time. Let this be a lesson to all of our viewers. Punctuality is a very
all of that shit
important
is
thing
fucking
in
phenomenal.
life.
It's all phenomenal. That shit is all phenomenal. That was, oh God, I almost got us canceled outside of the pod, outside of the fucking Panthers. Cool, but yeah. So that was that. Did that make you happy?
No, I just
It actually, like, and I just did it, like, I just kept everything anonymous for the podcast, but just know, like, this shit really had us hot. Like, no cap. So, and it wasn't just because of we're not getting to the show. It was the way shit went. And the relationship that Rod and this other party has. So you know what you know what I had to say. You know what I had to say. And honestly, I had to ask God to forgive me for what I said today when I went to church. But all of that being said, appreciate y'all tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, tap in with us on social media. And we will be back to talk to you guys again next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern sharp. Appreciate it again. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.
Hit off the dark like I'm over your mark. Walking cars, I got my crown in the start. 40K a night to sleep at the mark.